coming up to the line, being chased, and it was Braden Johnson.
Unbelievable finish.
It was 1/1000th of a second between them.
Green flag in the air. We are racing in the 2020 24 Hours of Daytona.
They go door to door for the feature race lead here on the last lap of the race. Side by side for the race lead in the final corner at Homestead.
Down the back straightaway, 3 wide again for the race lead. This is unbelievable stuff here tonight.
Aloma is going to have to be very deep on the brakes, and he is very deep on the brakes. It's side by side through the corner. This is for the win.
It'll be side by side. Davies low, Ottinger high. To the very inside is Garrett Low. 4 wide at the stripe. For all his work here on this outside line, neck and neck. Who's going to back out? Does anyone back out? Verstappen starts to squeeze on the inside, and now he'll try and straight line it. Goes under the apron, drag race to the line. It's so close to call. Last week, we were at the high-banked full-throttle track of Daytona, but tonight, the series shifts to a short track where tensions will rise and bumpers will be dented. From the heart of Virginia, we say Happy Memorial Day and welcome to KBRN's live coverage of the iRacing Bundren Lawn Care Series, live from Richmond Raceway for the first time in a short track this season, and we are ready to bring you all the action right here up in the booth. Along with Charlie Baier and Eli Commerford, my name is Kenneth Bueno, and what a race we have set up here for tonight on Memorial Day. A short track, first short track of the season, and the second race of the season. I have a question. It's the first short track of the season. What can we really expect coming here tonight?
Well, Kenneth, we just finished our first Super Speedway race, our series opener at Daytona, but what makes this different with the Super Speedways is a lot of the skill will show in these short track races. It requires good braking points and a smooth steering wheel to get around this place. So I think the talent will really show tonight, and it'll kind of set apart the people who did good in the Super Speedway race and the people who did good on short tracks.
It's definitely, Charlie had a point there. It will definitely show out the skill of these drivers tonight. You know, it's not a full throttle track like Daytona, so we won't be able to see, you know, those teams working like they did. You know, we saw the bad guys up there, but this time it's just skill, so we'll be able to see who shows off the best skill. We'll also see a lot of more carnage, I think, tonight. We'll see a lot of more bumping. It's a short track race, and seeing braking. They're going to definitely see some messed up cars tonight.
Yes, sir. And here at Richmond Raceway, it's the first short track of the season. And you mentioned, Charlie, the fact that we were at Daytona last week, and what a race we had there at Daytona. Just a phenomenal race filled with anything you could expect from a good race at Daytona. And I want to ask you, Charlie, how does this transition from the Super Speedway at Daytona to Richmond, how does that affect these drivers going into tonight, knowing they have such a big challenge ahead?
Well, especially for drivers that we know who are really good at these braking tracks like Blaze McKinney, Mark Love, Preston Cope. A lot of these guys, they're going to be shining through tonight, and they're looking for a good finish. And, you know, it is a lot harder than Super Speedway racing, as we mentioned before. So I think we'll definitely see these guys who have a lot more experience start to shine tonight.
We'll see those people that put more hours on iRacing show out tonight. We'll see, like, Blaze McKinney. You know, we always see him dominate his series on the short track, so we'll be able to see these, you know, short track racers show off their talent, what they're made of tonight.
Yeah, there are more than 30 drivers set in this field tonight, and they're going to be running 150 laps here at Richmond, and what a night is going to be under the lights here at this short track. And I want to go over the points before we go into anything after race number 1. We had Curtis Granger, who leads the top of the board with 30 points after his close victory at Daytona. Ryan Potter is just 6 points behind in second. Zachary Bakari, Will Reichard, Grayson Trexler down in the top 5. Parker White just 9 points behind. They are tied as well. Zachary Bakari, Will Reichard, Grayson Trexler, and Parker White are tied. Ruben Caceres, who had a great finish last week, is in 10 points behind. Henry Tabor, James Hill, and Keen Jones rounds out, I believe, the top 10 in the points coming after Daytona. And I know it's very early in the season. I know we haven't had so much show out from a lot of these drivers, and I know we see some new faces here tonight, but is there anybody you're really looking at in the point standings? I know it's a little bit early, but you know, is there any sort of drivers you expect to kind of go all out to kind of keep their position or even gain some positions in the point standings?
Yeah, I think Curtis Granger is definitely an experienced driver, especially on the 1.5 mile and the short track cars. So I think this is an opportunity for him to expand his already pretty decent points lead just after one race here. So it is definitely an opportunity for him, but I think we'll see a lot of guys who are outside of the top 10 in points start to kind of knock on the door and try to make their way in. So it'll be interesting, and I wouldn't doubt that we see those guys do it.
Yeah, by the end of the night, I believe I'll see the point standings completely different. I bet we'll see things shift off late. We'll see people who are down there who just didn't have a great race at Daytona, expectable plate race, who are able to show tonight on a short track, move the way up in standings. Maybe people who just got lucky.
We will get a lot of stuff going down. We're going to get some pre-race interviews before we get down to the pre-race festivities down at the racetrack, and of course giving the national anthem and such. We'll bring a driver in, and we'll bring Kelan Belsha in the booth, who was the driver last week who finished P13 at Daytona. Kelan, oh no, Kelan just got dragged out. Okay, that was a little bit odd. I was expecting him to be in the waiting room, but yes, I'm not sure. We'll try to get that down as soon as possible. We're gonna bring him in the booth. So, but there's just about 3 minutes left in warm-ups. Is there something kind of different when it comes to strategizing your race at Richmond? I know it's a long race, and it's 150 laps we have here. It's a very, very long night. It's a very gruesome night, and it's just how does it differ when it comes to strategizing these types of races?
Yeah, when you come to a 1.5 mile or a short track, just anything that's not a super speedway, there's definitely you bring up the topic of tire wear and tire conservability, and you know, it's a challenge for these guys to try to save tires and try to you know, not push the car hard enough, because if we get a long green flag run, you'll start to notice that these guys, when they're on old tires, these cars will start to get tight, and it's just not a controllable race car anymore. It's just the cost of these tires, but I think that'll bring in a completely new strategy game here as we start to step away from the super speedway races.
Yeah, there'll definitely be a lot of strategy here on a short track. It'll definitely eat up your tires. You know, it's a lot more grueling on your car than a super speedway, but yeah, definitely if we get these long green flag runs, we'll obviously see different pit strategies. With this short track, not as long as the track, so we'll definitely see strategy here tonight.
Well, of course, now we're going to get to the pre-race interviews that we were mentioning earlier. So we'll bring a driver in here. He was one of the drivers that dominated the first half of the Daytona 500, and that was the 26 of Blaze McKinney. We're going to bring him in. Blaze, first of all, welcome to the KBRN booth. You got a copy?
10-4.
All right, Blaze, well, going into this race, you had a little bit of a struggling night at Daytona, but just tell us how different you're going to make this night, knowing that you kind of have a redemption story on your hands and you kind of want to make a better impression here at Richmond. What's your strategy going into tonight?
Yeah, I just hope we can not get wrecked out. Hopefully we can qualify up front and stay up there, because I feel like we had a good chance to win in Daytona, and then we got wrecked out, and we had damage, so we were stuck in the back for the rest of the race. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen tonight. Hopefully we can qualify up front and stay up front and have a good run and lead some laps.
All right, Blaze. Well, before we let you go down in the booth, you got anybody you want to thank before you go 150 laps here at Daytona? I mean, Richmond. Excuse me.
Yeah, Crystal Lee Designs for coming along tonight. Bundren Lawn Care and iRacing Media, and also PPM for giving me a great car tonight. Hopefully we can go win the thing.
All right, Blaze. We'll hope to see you out on track. Good luck, man.
All right, thank you.
Blaze McKinney. I botched that up by saying Daytona, but I was just a little bit hungover on Daytona. What a great race that was. But I'll leave Charlie down in the interview. I know we have just about 17 seconds left in the warm-up, but I'll let Charlie get an interview here.
All right, so next up, we're going to see if we can interview the 80 car. Let's see where he is. Yeah, the 80 car of James Youngman into the booth. James, you got a copy with us?
I got you.
Well, James, you're currently sitting third in practice with a fast race car. You know, we're going to be good qualifying here shortly. I'll let you go so you can go do your lap. But you have a fast car. What are your expectations for tonight?
Oh, I'm going to be slow. That was a wall ride lap. I wanted to see if it actually worked because they were talking about it, and then I tested it and it worked.
Oh, all right. Well,
Yeah, no, that was a wall
qualif-
ride map.
yeah, we're gonna let you go because qualifying is just starting. So we wish you the best of luck. Before we let you go, you have any sponsors that you want to thank?
Bundren Lawn Care.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, that's about it.
All right, good luck in the race, man.
Thank you.
Well, just about 4 minutes, 4.5 minutes. Qualifying has just started, and that means the pre-race festivities are underway. And with that, of course, we know it's Memorial Day, so we will salute our nation's colors with our national anthems and salute our hats to all the men and women who fought for our country and continue to fight for our freedoms. Those were your nation's colors, and of course, we are celebrating Memorial Day here tonight on a Monday night. Of course, to all the men and women who served our country and continue to fight for our freedoms abroad. So, very, very special national anthem tonight, and of course, qualifying is just about begun. There's just a couple drivers getting their laps in and in their field for the track. We already had a couple drivers already put in some lap times, but I want to ask you, Eli, before we kind of get into the starting grid and such. I want to ask you, how is pit strategy going to be affected largely here? I know that Daytona is more tire wear, it's more kind of fuel related. You kind of have to watch your fuel, but here you kind of have to watch for both. So what's really the factor when it comes down to Richmond?
Yeah, it'll definitely be a big transition from Daytona coming where you won't have so much tire wear and you'll have to worry about fuel with long runs and stuff. But here, this track really eats up your tires, so we're going to have to coming in after their tires wear down pretty easily here at this track, so we'll definitely see some cars coming in to finish tires, get fresher tires in the other cars. So we'll definitely see people coming in before the others. We'll also see people, obviously, the tires here will be a big.
Well, all right. Well, I was expecting an answer for Charlie, but Charlie, what do you think about what I just asked?
Well, Daytona, you see a lot of fuel strategy because usually you get a long green flag run, and eventually the green flag run will be long enough where you have to start thinking about fuel strategy. You have to dive down, try to think about the people you pit with. But when we get to these short tracks, and you start to get a little more cautions because there's not as much room on the racetrack, and you don't have as much of a reaction time. There's definitely some tire strategy, and that's what really sets it apart. So we'll definitely be seeing our fair share of tire strategy, tire fall off if we get a long green flag run.
Yes, sir. That is one thing to watch for, especially going into Richmond tonight. And I know it's going to be under the lights. So 150 laps set to be run here tonight for the Richmond race here in the iRacing Bundren Lawn Care Series. And qualifying is just about wrapping up. We're going to get the grid very, very soon. And this field is going to do something very special before we get running here. They're going to do a 4-wide salute down here especially for the Memorial Day celebration. So we'll be seeing that just shortly before we go green. And now just about 10 seconds left in qualifying. So after that, we can give you your grid and see where all the drivers are lining up tonight at Richmond. More than 30 cars here tonight at Richmond. It's going to be super, super fun seeing all those guys go around the racetrack. And qualifying is just about done. So that means the drivers will start gridding, and we will give your lineup for tonight's event. And how excited are you guys for this? I know we had a great race at Daytona, but just how excited are you for tonight's race at Richmond?
Oh yeah, I'm really excited. Richmond is probably one of my favorite racetracks on the iRacing service. You know, it's a lot of fun to race around, and it's very loose, very hard to drive. It really shows the talent of these guys or the skill. So it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy watching and racing on it.
I'm really excited. I saw some of the best racing on iRacing Daytona last week, so I'm just excited to see these drivers transfer it to a short track where we see a bunch of bump and runs and stuff like that here at Richmond.
Yeah, it is going to be fun. And now the drivers are lined up on the grid, and we will see where everybody starts on the racetrack, and we'll get to your grid starting right now. So starting on the pole will be the number 26 of Blaze McKinney, who had a very, very good lap with a 21.243. Preston Cope right to his outside. These were the two that started on row 1 at Daytona.
Yeah, sitting row number 2, the 10 car, Mark Love, another experienced driver, and Jordan Coots, yet again, another experienced driver starting. That'll complete row number 2.
On row 3, we have Parker Wright, and 2 is outside. We have the 5 of Dominic Curtit. My bad.
Some new faces in row number 4. We have Trevor Krause in the 18 making his first start this season, and Jackson Hartman in the 19 after a rough start at Daytona looks to get a redeeming one tonight.
Inviting out your top 10 in row number 5, Kadarius Tave, starting inside in that number 4 car, and Glenn Bundren Jr. in that 37 car. We'll round out your top 10.
There in row 6, we have the 60 car of Joseph Costello, and 2 is outside the 72 of Keola Hankins.
Down in row number 7, with the 17 of Alex K. Greats making his first start this season, as well as Darren Myers in the 09 on the outside.
And row number 8, we have Scott McGrath in that 33 car, and to his outside that 14 car of Kelan Belsha.
In row 9, we have the 9 of Dylan Freeman and the 80 of James.
Down in row 10 will be the 99 of Ryan Potter, who finished 3rd last week at Daytona, and Chase Rogers, the number 3, making his start tonight at Richmond. You'll see the rest of the field go throughout your screen as we're going to get through this 4-wide salute here very, very shortly, and that's going to be very, very exciting. We have a lot of drivers in this field, and just a very, very good night here, just saluting all those men and women who fight for our country and such. And these guys are going to come down and they're going to give us our salute. So we'll be seeing that very, very shortly. And there they go. Some of the drivers already moving up. And we'll take this moment to, we'll give a lap of silence for those that we have lost. And, of course, for saluting all the people for our country.
And a very special salute to honor those who have made the ultimate sacrifice to serve our country. We can't thank you guys enough for joining us here tonight as well. We wouldn't be able to do this without the freedom of our country and the bravery of our troops. So getting ready to go green here for the first time. Looks like Blaze McKinney is going to lead them here. And we're getting ready to do 151 laps here at Richmond Raceway.
Long and gruesome night ahead for a lot of these drivers. More than 33 drivers in this field. Blaze McKinney, Preston Cope line up the front row. Here we go for green. For the race number 2, the iRacing Bundren Lawn Care Series. Oh no, they are not going green. Okay. All right, well,
Looks
that
like
would
we'll
have been
get-
messed up for me, yeah.
Looks like we're getting another lap of pacing just to get all the cars right, you know, after that 4 wide salute. Maybe not everyone was in the correct order, so just another lap to get everyone for the green flag.
Yeah,
it
that's
was
our
a little
bad.
premature there, I guess.
Yeah, a bit of confusion there, but looks like this time we're going to be taking the green flag. Basically, getting that 87 car, looking to lead them to the green flag. Lots of beautiful patriotic cars in the field tonight, obviously representing a very special day, Memorial Day, as we honor those who have fallen serving our country. But these guys are antsy. They are ready to go. A big field for tonight, almost sizing up to what Daytona was. And into turn number 3. Here we go.
Okay, I think finally we can get the start underway. It was a little premature there, but Blaze McKinney, Preston Cope line up the front row. They'll take the green flag this time by. Blaze McKinney gets a great start as they go green for Richmond.
A beautiful start there by Blaze McKinney, blinding start there. Preston Cope charging right behind. Them 2 cars pulling out from the cars behind them.
Boy, an early lead for Blaze McKinney. Already took the lead very, very early. Preston Cope following suit. You see the 95 behind them. You see Jordan Coons, who is trying to make a move to the outside. And how important is this inside lane here at Richmond? It can be very, very tough for you if you get that outside lane, because it is hard to make that outside lane work here.
Oh yeah, definitely. And if you get caught into the outside, it's kind of like very similar to Martinsville. If you get caught into that outside lane, you are going almost to the back, because everyone's going to dive down to the inside lane as well. But Blaze McKinney with a pretty sizable lead so far. His teammate Preston Cope behind. Parker White will round up the podium spot so far.
Yeah, definitely. The outside lane is a very long way around this track. It's very wide corners here at Richmond, so it's going to be super long around. It's just setting yourself up for a sucker. Oh, you'll probably get like 3 positions. Depends all about track position, but you'll definitely expect to get some positions taken from you.
Yes, sir. And you see a battle behind them. That's Joseph Costello in the 60, working his way around the number 18. You see the 95, Alex K. Grates, one of the drivers making his first start tonight in this season. And how important is it for you, if you're a driver making your first start tonight, how important is it for you to make a really good impression after missing Daytona last week?
Oh yeah, first impression is definitely very important. It kind of gains the trust over these drivers, especially if you're going to run the full season. You want to keep your image clean as possible. So, and we do have a caution out on the racetrack.
First caution of the night. Not sure who it was. You see the 08 of JJ Hill back there, but doesn't look like this. Oh, Glenn Bundren looks to be involved in that. He has some hard damage on the rear, and looks like we'll take a replay and see what happened down here. That's Glenn Bundren in the 37 going down the inside lane. You see, not sure what might have happened there, but oh my goodness, the 33 just gets loose into the wall and tags along the 37. Huge wreck for Glenn Bundren there. Went up and over, and a hard wreck for him down the back straightaway.
Yeah, and definitely
Out right there.
Not what he wanted to see this early in the race. We did get a pretty good green flag run, almost 10 laps. Yeah, we saw our fair share of pretty good racing side by side, but yeah, under caution for the first time. Of course, if you want to join the conversation in our YouTube chat, use hashtag AskKBRN. We'll answer your questions about the race, about the broadcast, about K Bueno Racing Network in general. Any questions you ask will be responded with. So we do appreciate the participation of our viewers in chat, and we appreciate you guys coming out today. It means a lot to us as we're just starting out.
Yeah, we love to be involved with the people in the chat and the people watching. It's a great way to kind of connect with the people watching and somehow be part of the conversation with us in the booth. So if you want to ask any question out there, you can use hashtag AskKBRN. We'll be sure to ask that. We'll be sure to answer that in the booth. And it's just a fun night. But so far, Blaze McKinney, Preston Cope continue to lead this field after what it was 10 laps on our first caution of the night. And you see some guys getting out of pit road there. I believe they were just getting some damage fixed. But you know, coming with this Richmond race, there's a lot of tire wear and such and stuff like that. Do we expect to see somewhat of a green flag run that could potentially shake up the strategies?
Yeah, definitely. And I wouldn't, if I were to guess when we're going to get a green flag run, it'll definitely be later in the race. People are obviously settled in, know what the race car does at that point. So These first 50 laps, I would say, are just shaking down the car, getting a feel for it, and just trying to stay in control of it, I should say. But you know, as we start to get late into these runs, people are going to become more used to it and know what to expect out of these 550 horsepower racing machines.
I did more green flag runs, you know, early on. We're just getting the tires used to this, getting the tires warm, our car used to the track, so, you know, that's some inexperience there with Glenn Bundren there or whatever happened in that incident. Cautions on early, but I expect to see green flag runs later on.
So the first 11 laps here at Richmond are complete out of the 150 that are scheduled to run tonight. And what a performance for Blaze McKinney. I know he had a very heartbreaking night at Daytona last week where he was running up front for practically most of the first half of the race until he was involved in a hard incident that sent him to the rear, and he was just never able to recover. And how sweet would it be for Blaze McKinney to kind of take over this race and dominate alongside his friend Preston Cope?
Oh yeah, definitely. It'd definitely be a good redemption story for that 87 team. Wanted to, like you said, didn't get the run that he wanted last week at Daytona. So obviously looking for a redemption night, and it's looking that way so far. But I don't want to jinx him too early. Knock on wood. But yeah, but we got the 1 green mark, and we're getting to go green flag racing on lap number 13.
Yeah, Charlie, we have the signal for 1 to green, so it's a very short way around this racetrack. It's not like Daytona where it's very, very slow to get around, but it is going to be fun. It's a very short way around this racetrack, so we'll be going green here very, very shortly. Blaze McKinney, Preston Cope round out the front row. Parker White and Jordan Kuntz down in row 2, and the green flag will come out of the first restart of the race here at Richmond. Another blazing start for Blaze, and that's a no pun intended there, but Blaze McKinney down back to the point of the race, and Preston Cope still behind him. Parker White, Jordan Kuntz are among the guys who are staying single file right now, and you see some battles here behind them. Joseph Costello still trying to make the inside work. I'm not sure who the driver is behind him, but is the 18. He's still trying to make a move down there, but Alex K. Greats are peeking. Some guys are also peeking down behind them, but so far it's been a little bit of single file early on.
Another caution out on the racetrack. Cars are slowing down once again. Looks like the 09, the 32, and the 35 of Peter Kinney are all involved. We're going to go ahead and get a replay of this one. But
boy, that looked tough. That looked a little bit tough. It involved more cars. You see down there, the 09 of Darren Myers was involved in that as well. You see these guys coming off of turn 2. It happened around turn 4, so I believe these guys just got a little bit tangled. Oh, James Youngman makes a dive bomb into turn number 3 and sends Darren Myers around. JJ Hill, the 35 of Peter Kenny, the 32, was slowing down for that heavily down there. And just a tough break for these guys early on as James Youngman kind of sent it in there. I'm not sure. That might have been a miscommunication on the braking zones, but braking zones is a big part of this track, and it could mean the difference between you making a good pass or possibly getting into an opponent.
yeah, and the kind of the key thing of this track, especially as myself, who's had experience here, I've won a few races at this track in a cup car. Corner entry is very, very loose, especially in turn number 1. You're braking while you're turning, which can have the back end step out a lot. So it's definitely a tough track for sure, especially with this low downforce package with the shorter spoiler. So it's definitely a challenge to try to nail your braking point and not have the rear end step out. But that's just the way these cup cars are with all this horsepower.
Yeah, I noted that earlier with all this horsepower coming into the corner, you know, definitely a hard braking zone. Definitely you can get into the back of the car ahead of you, you know, get some tempers flying, but definitely a big factor here is braking here at Richmond.
Yeah, braking is one of the most important parts of being on this short track, and especially the corner entry. It's very tough since, especially going down the front straightaway into turn 1. I know that's one of the more sketchy parts of the racetrack in terms of entry, because you're already turning left down the front straightaway, so once you get into turn 1, you already have to dive deeper on your wheel turning left, so that could really upset the car if you enter it the wrong way. And it's the mix of all of it really that kind of could make or break you here at Richmond. But so far, lap number 17, Blaze McKinney continues to lead this race. Preston Cope not far behind. Parker White is in third. These guys have stayed within the top 3 practically the entire race, as well as Jordan Kuntz, who is down in 4th place, who had a pretty promising run in the Trexco iRacing League earlier tonight at just about like 7 p.m. Eastern. He had a very good run here at Trexco, and I know it's a very different race in terms of the track itself, but you know, how nice is a momentous night for Jordan Kuntz. Could he keep that momentum up tonight?
Yeah, definitely. Momentum is being carried here, sitting just inside the top 5. So he's having a good night in both races, both league races. So yeah, he's hoping for another good finish here.
It's looking like it tonight, definitely carrying from the skill league. So good for that 2017.
Yeah, one of the things I want to talk about before we go green is practically the teams. I mean, the teams are not playing a bigger factor as we thought we would see in this race, but down in Daytona, you're able to draft with your teammates, so it just makes a little bit more sense. So, you know, but now here that we're at Richmond, you can't really do that so much. You know, you can't really help your teammates all too much unless it's possibly for making picks to allow teammates to pass, but pretty much that's about it. It kind of separates that teamwork that we saw last week with especially guys in the Badge Esports teams and the Dr. Pepper Esports team. So that'll be interesting to see how they work themselves around tonight. But down the back straightaway, 1 to green signal is out. That means we will take the green flag as soon as the pace car goes down pit road, and Blaze McKinney and Preston Cope, the 2 Chevrolets, will lead the field to green, and the 2 Toyotas behind him. The pace car will come off, and we will take the green flag one more time. Lap number 20 from Richmond.
Is McKinney with another sizable lead off of a restart. Looking very good so far tonight. 2 beautiful restarts tonight again on this restart.
Yeah, and Parker White slid himself into the 2nd spot. Furthest we've seen him up front. It's the first time we've seen anyone challenge the top 2 cars, but Preston Cope is definitely not done yet. He is looking back to the inside, looking to take back the 2nd place spot. So, yeah, Parker White moving up.
Yeah, look at all the guys behind the 47 of Preston Cope. They're trying to take an opportunity to take that lead. That is Dominic Currit in the number 5, Alex K. Greats behind them, Jordan Kuntz among those guys that are trying to make those moves. And they could get around Preston Cope if they try to make the move early on. And you see the battle behind them with Joseph Costello still making moves behind them and Alex K. Greats. But Blaze McKinney continues to grow the gap.
Yeah, we saw just a lap ago, looks like Preston Cope is going to use the bumper on that 95 car, I should say, but definitely a risky move, especially in these loose race cars, and but you can definitely make it work, as we've seen in real life with Carl Edwards and Kyle Busch, so it definitely is possible, especially at this racetrack.
We're seeing that out here on the track tonight, the 47 is on the bumper of that 95. It would be interesting to see if he'll make a move this early on in the race. If he dips to the inside, he'll get that position, or it looks like he will be able to on the 95. While the 95 actually holds on with him on the outside, so side by side down the back stretch for 2nd place.
Boy, Preston Cope got so loose down there coming on the back straightaway, and he was able to keep it straight, and now he's able to get around the 95, so he almost put him in the wall there. But another good pass for the 95, and that almost opened the door for Jordan Kuntz, who was trying to make the move down on Dominic Currit, I believe that was. Yes, Dominic Currit in the number 5, who was, oh no, it's the 18 of Kraus, I apologize, I'm getting that wrong. But Kraus making a move down there. Jordan Kuntz is still trying to give the peak right there for 5th place.
As Blaze McKinney continues to just dominate. Let's look back at this battle for 3rd and 2nd here. We got some great positions from the 47 of Cope to the 95 of White to that 18. Just great racing here at Richmond.
Continuing to work our way around lap number 27. We'll kind of focus on the rear of the field as Blaze McKinney continues to grow the lead among Preston Cope and Parker White, and there's some guys behind there that were battling just a couple of laps ago, and that's kind of the more risky part of the field. Since there's a lot of drivers more packed in between the mid part of the field, you'd expect to see a lot more contact between those guys, and especially a lot more bold moves when it comes to trying to make position, because you're so eager to get up front early in the stage.
Yeah, I'm pretty impressed with the green flag racing we're seeing right now. Obviously, Richmond is one of the shorter tracks, so not a lot of room, but these guys are working pretty well with each other here and keeping it clean, so I'm having fun watching up here. It's a pretty good race for positions like second and inside the top 5.
Me too. Sorry, Kenneth, didn't mean to cut you off there, but
And we got a caution out.
We have a caution out of the track. Looks like the 32 and the 35. Not sure what happened. We'll get a replay.
Third caution of the night. We're trying to find out who was involved in that wreck and who might have some damage among the guys in this field, but don't seem to be anybody. This is a 3 who has significant damage. I believe he might have been a part of the wreck today, and yeah, I think so. No, actually not. He might not have been. We'll see what happens. And oh my goodness,
wreck.
there was somebody. Yeah, I believe that was if I see correctly.
Yeah, Alex K. Great. Some big hit to that inside wall.
Goodness, a huge hit, and surprised everybody else was able to get around it, but a huge hit into the inside wall. And that inside wall comes at you quick if you don't get if you get very loose off the corner. We'll go on board and see what.
Yeah, it's just another product of these just loose race cars, lots of low downforce, and even on corner exit, it's really easy to get that back end to step out, and obviously a pretty big hit towards the inside wall. But we're seeing a lot of cars, hold on here, going down pit road. Blaze McKinney, first one down, and Jackson Steiner is the first off of pit road. That's a surprise.
Jordan Kuntz right behind him, and you see the rest of the field coming down. Parker White beats Preston Cope off of pit road. What a good pit stop for that 95, but here's some guys who stayed out. I believe that's Grayson Trexler.
Yeah.
There's, the 17. These guys are Jackson Steiner. These guys stayed out. The 16 as well also stayed out. I think these guys might be some laps down, so they'll be coming around, I believe. So Blaze McKinney will have the win off of pit road. So actually, no, Jackson Steiner is in second now. Grayson Trexler now holds the lead, so very interesting strategy for these guys. I believe they were kind of holding themselves in the rear, and now they have that opportunity to come back up front. I know they're on older tires, but they can probably hold their own within the next restart.
Yeah, I'm surprised with Jackson Steiner's pit stop. It looked like on my telemetry screen here, it says he didn't even he must have drove through the pits because it does not show him having a pit stop time, but Grayson Trexler did stay out, so an interesting strategy here. You do get a bonus point if you lead one lap, so it's interesting here, and if these two start double file in the restart, it's going to be an interesting one.
Interesting strategy going on. Tires do play a big role here at Richmond, so it'll be interesting to see how the 54 Trexler holds up these cars behind him that did pit and got some tires. So just interesting strategy by the 54 team.
Yeah, and this allows Blaze McKinney in the 87 to have a little bit of a battle with the guys in front of him, especially Jordan Kuntz, who beat him off of pit road, who was hanging just about in 5th place, trying to make a move for 4th. He is now in 3rd, so now he can make a good move. Blaze McKinney also starts, I believe, on the outside, so that'll be a tough one for him. He'll have to fight uphill this time around, but look at these guys going around. Of course, the front just I don't know. Guys early on, especially since it's lap 33 out of all.
Yeah, it's kind of baffling in my opinion, but we got the one in the green mark. These two are starting side by side. Oh boy, this also does give Jordan Kuntz the opportunity to start there, and if he can get around them, you will have the race lead. So it's gonna be interesting. But part of me does not see this going well. But
yeah, me either. I definitely expect to see these two get ran over by the cars behind them, maybe even stack them up and cause something, but I'm not sure what's going through that call right there.
All right, well, some interesting calls. We'll find out what happens on the restart. Here we go, green flag once again on another restart. Grayson Trexler and Jackson Steiner will lead him to green, and what a bizarre start from these two. They got a big jump on Blaze McKinney and these guys.
Yeah, Blaze McKinney, the first to the 54's bumper. He's going to have a big run down the back straightaway. And Grayson Trexler almost blocked a little bit there, almost pushed him up in the inside wall. But Blaze McKinney working on getting around him. Grayson Trexler giving him absolutely no room. Down the back straightaway, we're looking 3 wide.
3 wide between these guys. Jordan Kuntz down the inside. You see the 2 trying to make a move on Preston Copes. It's the first time we've seen him up front all race. And oh my goodness, the tires are playing a huge factor. You see them blowing by the 54 of Grayson Trexler. But Jackson Steiner continues to hold his own up front. But Blaze McKinney's going to make a challenge as they go 3 wide in the middle of the pack. Oh no! Jackson Steiner gets turned. He goes down in the grass, but no caution. He's able to keep it straight. But what even happened there with Blaze McKinney? Now that allows Jordan Kuntz to come up front and the number 2 behind him in the 3.
Yeah, if I was the guest there, Blaze McKinney either got impatient or Jackson Steiner was those cold tires or old tires just was slowing up too much, and Blaze got into the back bumper of him. So new leader here at Richmond, not too far from Charlotte actually.
Man, we are getting the races all mixed up tonight.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
but Jordan Kuntz obviously leading his first laps tonight with Jacob Taylor May in that 2 car behind.
We got a whole new front row here as we have a caution out at the track. We'll see what's going on. Whoa, we have a car on the roof. We have a car on his roof. The 54 of Grayson Trexler on his roof on the front edge. We'll give you a replay of what happened there. I'm not sure what happened, but wild ride there for that 54 car.
Oh my goodness, you saw Preston Cope was involved in that Kiloa. Hankins got spun in front of the field, but then after Grayson Trexler gets in the wall and then gets sent up in the air by the 47. What a bizarre set of events right there for Grayson Trexler. He's going to have to tow the car. He is stuck upside down there.
And looks like he may have gotten help getting it back over. Common courtesy in iRacing when someone's flipped over to do that. But under caution for, I believe, the 3rd time here. But we've seen some pretty good green flag racing. But that caution is another product of just old tires and trying to stay out front. So we definitely saw what happened here, and we saw the consequences with that 17 car of Jackson Steiner. So we know what happens, and I think these guys might have learned their lesson.
Yeah, that was tough for Grayson Trexler, who was falling down through the field after starting on the front row, and that was just I'm still thinking about it, how bizarre that wreck was. But now that leaves Jordan Kuntz to the top of the board, and the 25, who we haven't seen at all in this race tonight, he is now in 2nd, and I'm curious to see if these guys go down pit road. They don't, so I know they haven't had that much laps on their tires yet, but we could see some interesting strategies, especially since it's a very long race. I know these guys could make some moves, especially strategy-wise, going down the road. But Blaze McKinney now in P3 after getting into contact with Jackson Steiner. I'm still curious what happened between those two going down the front straightaway.
This is an opportunity. 87 car, you know, he got shuffled back with that incident he had with the 8 car of Jackson Steiner, the 17 car with custom numbers, but still, it's a good opportunity. He got shuffled back after he got impatient with him. Now he's back in 3rd place on the inside, so we'll be able to see if we'll be able to take back that 1st position.
Yeah, and we started with just over 30 cars in this race. We are down to 23 cars on the lead lap at least. We have a bit more on the racetrack here, so this field's starting to decrease a little bit as we get more cautions and more wrecks and people's engines expire. So that's just the way it is here at these short tracks. No way to avoid it. No way to avoid that bumper of the person behind you. So yeah, we're looking to go back green flag racing here pretty shortly. Jordan Kuntz in that 27 car. It's going to lead us to the green.
Yeah, and attrition plays a big role at this track as well, because you can't really predict what the guy behind you will do, and especially if you guys have different braking zones when it comes down going into certain corners, you could make a misjudgment there, and that could result in some guys getting turned or somebody getting the bumper up there. So very, very tough. You see it, but just about 23 cars on the lead lap. The first car trapped a lap down is Henry Tabor, who will be 1 lap down. I think he could get the he's repping an EO Media car tonight. I know we had an EO Media car last week, but Eli, you got some representation in the field tonight.
Yeah, we got 2 EO Media cars here in the field tonight. We got that 16 Patriotic camo car. Decided to do a little little something for the military there on that car. So whipped up that scheme for Henry. We also got a patriotic scheme playing out on the track. Just good to have two drivers representing the EO Media tonight.
And we had a Neo Media car last week, and there is the 14. I believe that's Kelan Belsha who's running tonight. He's running within a couple rows deep. But what I'm looking at is the guys behind Blaze McKinney and the 18. You see, I believe it's Paul Granata who ran in the LWRC race that we broadcasted live on KBRN, but the 4 as well. But here we go on another restart. Jordan Kuntz and the 25 of May lead them to green once again. Boy, big spin of the tires by Paul Granata there. He had to shuffle back way back, but here comes Blaze McKinney down low, the number 4. Yeah, he is working his way to the front back again after losing the lead in that incident, but he is charging back to the 27 of Kuntz off of 4.
Blaze McKinney has a fast race car. He knows his way around pretty much any track on the iRacing service, and he is showing his worth tonight as he approaches the back bumper of that 27 car for the race lead.
McKinney back where he was at the beginning of the race, up here in the front two, trying to get his way back to the first position as he looks to the inside of the 27. Won't be able to get that here, but looking very fast here, probably faster than that 27 as he brushes the wall. Blaze McKinney's back where he was at the beginning of the race.
And look at the guys deep within the top 10. There's Joseph Costello, Paul Granata, who had a tough start early on. He fell back just a little bit, and you see Joseph Costello there passing Parker White in the 95. We got a car around. Yeah, we got a car around. That's Grayson Trexler again. Looks like no caution on the racetrack. He continues to keep it going very, very slowly, but he is up to speed. But look who's coming down. That's the 25 of May. He may peek into this top 3 if so choose.
Yeah, and he's moving up the pack a little bit here. Yeah, started 31st. I don't think he qualified, but he has a fast number 2 race car, and he is definitely making his way up here, and he could challenge for the race lead here, if Blaze McKinney keeps getting held up. But he's working hard at it, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little of a bumper move here.
Yeah, Blaze McKinney continues to try and find a way around Jordan Kuntz, but just can't get the plan set up perfectly here. He's trying to execute it within, especially turns 3 and 4. I'm looking that he's eyeing the most, and here he goes eyeing into turn 3 and 4. Just as I say that, down to the inside of Jordan Kuntz. He's going to peak for the lead, but Jordan Kuntz fights hard on the outside. They're going to go side by side at the line going into 1.
Blaze McKinney has the advantage going into turn number 1. The 2 car to follow here. Again, we saw if you move up to the outside lane, you do have the opportunity to be washed back here. But new leader here. Blaze McKinney takes back the race lead on lap number 50. We're just under a third of the way through this race. And we also see the 2 car slide into second, but we got another caution out on the racetrack.
Another caution on the racetrack. I believe that might have been, oh no, that is Peter Kenny in the 35 who was involved in that, Eli. I know I cut you off just a little bit, but yeah, he kind of went around down there. I'm not sure what really happened. We'll take a replay.
To get you back to replay, we have a 35 of Peter Kenny. And just by himself, not sure what happened. Oh, it looks like I'm not sure what happened. He just got loose there and made a hard turn into the wall. Hard hit there for the 35.
Yeah, and just like we saw earlier with Alex K. Grace, off especially on corner exit and on corner entry. Again, I'm going to keep talking about this all race because it plays a pretty big factor in how these cars drive. On exit, once you gas it up, that back end, it does try to step out. You don't have as much downforce as you have on a regular 1.5 mile speedway, especially with these shorter spoilers. So lesser downforce means the back end will try to step out a lot more easier, and he obviously overcorrected into the wall, and a lot more damage for that car.
Yeah, the exit of turn 2 has been a monster to a lot of these guys, and we've already seen a couple victims get claimed from that exit at turn 2, and that is vicious. But so far, I think we might see some guys dip down pit road. I think we might see pretty much a majority of the field go down pit road on lap number 52, as they kind of had a longer green flag run this time around, but looks like we get nobody down pit road. Actually, we do not have some takers. I thought Parker White was going to get going to go down pit road there. But we have a question down in the chat. Is an Ask KBRN question. It says, do drivers get annoyed with all the cautions?
Yep.
Pacing. Seems boring. Don't like it.
Yeah, definitely give pacing a 0 out of 10 rating. Because, you know, a lot of these guys are really antsy. They want to go green flag racing. They know that we've seen a lot of good racing in this race, and they want to have a lot of fun out here. So they're antsy to go back green flag racing, and it does get on their nerves sometimes, especially if it's someone in the back, if it's like a self-spin like we just saw with the 35 car. So, yeah, cautions do get on our nerves, especially on a super speedway.
Well, I think that now that it's a shorter track at Richmond, these laps don't take as long as they do at tracks like Daytona and Talladega. So I think these drivers do get very annoyed with all the cautions. I know as a driver myself in iRacing, I get annoyed, especially when cautions continue to go out, especially when you're having a very good run, especially guys like Blaze McKinney, who kind of wanted to grow the gap in his lead. He's probably just a little bit frustrated that the caution came out, but I know that it doesn't take too long to get pace laps underway at Richmond. So usually could be a lot of cautions, could get frustrated, but then you go green soon anyway. So kind of a blessing and a curse in a way, to be honest. So Blaze McKinney continues to lead the field. Jacob Tyler May worked himself into second. He'll start on the outside of row 1. Jordan Kuntz, who made a fought hard, who got passed for the lead and for second place. He will start third on the inside line. You see behind them they have fourth place car of Kadarius Tave, who has marked himself away. Kraus in the 18. Down low, Joseph Costello. You see Parker White between them. And I've been looking at this latter half of the top 10, and these guys have put on some insane racing going through the restarts, and they've put on a lot of crazier moves we've seen here tonight.
Yeah, definitely. We've seen a lot of these guys not giving each other any inches on the racetrack. But I'm looking at the number 95 of Parker White. He did start up there. He did drop back pretty far, but he's been on a mission to get back towards at the front. It's going to be pretty exciting to see him try to weave through these cars. But pace car lights are off into turn number 3. We're getting ready to go green flag racing here once again.
Pace car looms down pit road, and the green flag will come out once again. Sunset restart right here at Richmond, but look at the start from, I believe that's Preston Coe moving to the outside, but Blaze McKinney shoots all the way to the front into turn 1.
And Joseph Costello gets into the wall down the back straightaway there. Oh, big wreck behind there.
Oh yeah, James Youngerman, Keloa Hankins. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's a 72 car of Keola Hankins. Obviously, get turned around, pretty big wreck into the inside wall. He's going to have to go down and get that fast repair if he didn't get it already, but we're going to go ahead and get a replay here.
That 12 car just around there, and the 16 clips to 80. Unfortunately, the 72 and the 32 collects a couple of more cars. Unfortunate for those cars that were just back there and got collected in that incident. Yeah, just unfortunate.
Yeah, the 46 car of Joe Notch will kind of turn the 80 a bit into the wall. I'm not going to place blame on any of those drivers because, you know, obviously the perspectives are different for both race cars, but yeah, definitely a bit of controversy here as James Youngman is showing his displeasure on the 46 car, but yeah, temper's starting to flay here at Richmond. That's kind of the product of short track racing.
Well, though I've seen a trend within the last couple of cautions. A lot of these guys are getting loose or either making contact and getting involved in wrecks on the back straightaway. That seems to be the place where a lot of guys get into trouble. We only saw one wreck, I believe, down the front straightaway, and some wrecks between the turns between guys like Keloa Hankins, who was down there, Grayson Trexler, who was flipped in front on the front straightaway. But so far, that backstretch has claimed a lot of drivers tonight.
Yeah, and I wanna bring up something here real quick. If we look back at our point standings here, I don't think a lot of these guys are in the race today. So
no, they are not actually. Curtis Granger is. I think he wasn't registered in the session, so he's not gonna get points. Ryan Potter, also one of those guys. Zachary Vicari, Will Reichard, Grayson Trexler is one of the drivers in the field, but he's already been involved in some trouble early. Parker White seems to be the only driver who's maintained himself within the top, who's looking to get up in the point standings, and he's just 9 points behind. So if these guys struggle, which we have seen some of these guys struggle already, how good would this be for Parker White to jump in the point standings?
Yeah, definitely. He's obviously looking for a pretty good point stay here, so he's sitting up there just outside of the top 5, knocking on the door to the inside. So obviously looking, and in that number 95 Barstool Sports Toyota Camry, looking pretty good out there.
Interesting. A bunch of those good finishers at Daytona last night decided not to show up at a short track here at Richmond, but definitely perfect position for that 95 car of Jacob.
Yeah, we see a lot of guys who are not in the top 10 in the point standings are making their runs here tonight. And some guys making their debuts. You see guys like Jacob Tyler May in second. I believe he's making his debut here tonight. Some other guys such as I know there's some guys in this field that are making their first starts tonight. I know Kadarius Tave, excuse me, is making his first start here at Richmond tonight. And these guys are making some impressive runs within their first starts, especially guys like Jacob Tyler May. I was not expecting to see him up front of the field, but he's been making a good challenge for the lead so far. I'm excited to see what he does on this next restart.
And 1 to green here. Pace car lights are off, getting ready to go green. So, yeah, green flag racing about to pick up once again. A lot of these guys have been staying up front most of this entire race. Haven't really gone down pit road. Let's see here. Let's see what Blaze McKinney's stint is. Yeah, Blaze McKinney is on 20 lap old tires. Looks like. Oh wait. Sorry, Blaze McKinney is on 30 lap old tires. This entire top, I want to say 5. So, on older tires here, but I would expect on the next caution these guys go down for some pits, but that also translate to wheel spin on the restart. But green flag racing once again.
Good start by the top 3. They worked themselves into turn 1 fairly clean, single file most of the way through. The number 4 is trying to peek into 3rd, but just can't get it down the back straightaway. Look at the moves between these guys. Preston Cope now making a move to the inside. Boy, that was very, very sketchy. Joseph Costello and the 4 could have been heavily impacted by that, but looks like they make it clean so far, and the 4 is going to make a move. Is another caution on the racetrack. We're going to take a look and see what happened there. Who might have been involved? I think the 32 might have been involved. I think that's Sean Major, Darren Myers in the 09. Oh yeah, Darren Myers. We'll take another replay and see what happened there.
Yeah, it's a 17 car Jackson starter who got turned a little bit from the lead there, but it looks like, just a bit of contact there, and the 17 kind of rear-ended him, and into the wall he goes. I don't think, good job by all these cars on wreck avoidance there, but he does get that car turned back around, and will pace back with the field.
So pacing on lap number 64, and we'll see if these guys go down pit road once again. You mentioned Blaze McKinney's on 30 lap old tires, so I think he's gonna want to make some changes, especially with the tires and the fuel. But no, he doesn't actually go down pit road. These guys haven't gone down pit road as much as I thought we'd see them go. I know that it's a long race. There's still about 50, excuse me, not 50 laps, more than 90 laps left in this race. So it's a long time here at Richmond, but I'm surprised I really haven't seen many people down pit road.
Yeah, definitely, and a lot of, really the entire top 20 is almost on 30 lap old tires, so they're definitely stretching it. But obviously, if the leader goes down pit road, everyone will follow. That's kind of the thing here. But if the leader comes down, like Blaze McKinney comes down, and they all stay out, he's going to be stuck in the back. So obviously, a bit of hesitation is also in play there.
Well, working our way to lap number 65. Blaze McKinney continues to lead, and I think this is a good time to take a quick commercial break, and we'll get some ads in before we go back green here. It's not, I believe, 2 to green, so we'll get some commercials in, and we'll be right back. You are watching the iRacing Bundren Lawn Care Series live from Richmond Raceway. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Richmond Raceway, where we've had 68 laps of pure chaos. We've had a bunch of cautions tonight, but Blaze McKinney continues to command the field. Jacob Tyler May on the outside. You see they got the 1 to green signal already, and off of turn 4, they'll take the green flag this time by. These guys pretty much up front had dominated most of this race, and they'll continue to do so as coming off of turn 4, the green flag will be back out. Another restart on lap number 69.
Another great restart by that 87 car, Blaze McKinney. Obviously, one of the more experienced here. Oh, we have a car around. We have a car around on turn 1.
Preston Cope,
one of the contenders for the lead all night long. That 47 car around collects a few cars there. Fortunate there. He has been putting up a battle all night. It's unfortunate for that 47 team. Not sure how it happened. We'll get a replay for you guys.
what an odd situation for Preston Cope. He was trying to make a move down to the outside. You saw him peek 3 wide between Jordan Kuntz and the 18, but oh my goodness, I think it might have been just a miscommunication there, thinking there was a little bit more space than there was, and he just gets turned in front of the field. He got some extra contact by James Youngerman, but boy, a tough break for Preston Cope, who was running very well early on, and now he's gonna have to play catch up.
Yeah, and he was on the move trying to get back up to the front, and he was definitely on a mission to try and regain that second place spot that he had. Obviously started second outside of Blaze McKinney there, so definitely not what he wanted to see, but he took a 3 wide on the restart, as you saw, just pretty aggressive, but a little too aggressive.
Yeah, there's always there's always a boundary.
Go ahead, Eli.
You're fine, kid.
No, it's just that it was a little bit of lagging on, I believe, my part. So.
Yeah, but I was gonna say there's always a limit to what you can do here. You can always be aggressive, you know, a little bump and run, but there's always a limit to where you'll wreck yourself, you'll wreck the other guy. But yeah, you gotta be knowing of your limit.
And even more so with this track and how narrow it gets. Sometimes you kind of misjudge how much space you have on this racetrack, and you know I know that it's a little bit wide down in the turns, as you see down there in turns 1 and 2, but really the definite lines in this track are usually right at the bottom to that yellow line and just a little bit higher. And if you really get any higher, it could mean you just basically lose a bunch of spots and you slow down dramatically between a lot of these drivers, and you might lose a bunch of spots. So usually it feels narrower than it actually is, and it's one of the more interesting things about Richmond Raceway is just how difficult and tricky it is to go around this racetrack, and especially continue momentum down the inside.
Definitely another one of these short tracks. Kind of the same thing for most of these short tracks, but definitely a big aspect of this. You know, the inside usually works. I've seen the outside work more surprising. It's been surprising for me, at least, to see how the outside has worked for. I think just more of these short track drivers have the experience, like Blaze McKinney's been able to make passes or at least stay with the car. But yeah, definitely interesting.
All right, well, 73 laps completed out of the 150 scheduled to run tonight, and I want to ask you guys, especially I want to ask you, Charlie, first is, well, who has been the most surprising driver you've seen within this field? We've had a lot of shuffling between this top 10 and somewhat within the top 20, but who has really caught your eye the most, especially if we run pretty much halfway through this race?
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with the 2 car of Jacob Tyler May. He's started just outside of the top 30, and he's made his run all the way up to 2nd place and is a clear contender for this race win. But yeah, he's definitely surprised me the most here. Yeah, currently sitting in 2nd, going to be outside on this restart.
Well, one of the drivers I've been watching is pretty much, I think I've been watching Joseph Costello. He's worked himself within the top 10, and he's pretty much stayed there ever since the drop of the green flag. And you know, he had a tough run last week. He was just up in the lead before getting caught in a wreck early in the run, and that pretty much tore here tonight. And Eli, I want to ask you, is there any drivers you've seen that's pretty much surprised you tonight?
Add that 27 car up there, Kuntz. No, I'm sorry, bro. actually what his first name is. We got that 27 car
Jordan
there. Jordan Kuhn, sorry, that 27 car has been up at the front all night. He's been, I believe he has led some laps tonight. He's been battling for the lead with Blaze and all of them. But yeah, definitely surprising definitely us surprised to see him up front for as long as he's been to run for that 27.
All right, well, Blaze McKinney and Jacob Tyler May will lead the field to green once again on lap number 75, and a good start for Blaze McKinney early on as they go down into turn 1.
Blaze McKinney has been the restart king so far. He got a bit of a jump in that restart, but obviously it's working pretty well for him. So he's got a bit of about a 5-car length lead over the 18 car. 18 car of Trevor Krause slides himself into the second spot, farthest up front we've seen him. So good run for him, and he's gonna go dive into that corner. Almost gets washes up the racetrack a little bit, and here comes the 2 car down to the inside. And I think I saw a car spun around back there, and caution is back out.
Yeah, another caution. That is the 08 of James Hill, who's involved in that when he goes around down in turn 2, and you see the damage on that 08 Toyota Camry. You see what happened. We'll get the replay for you right now. As you see, he was going down turn 1 and 2, and not sure what really happened there. Oh my goodness, the 17 got way loose down there. That's Jackson Steiner who got very loose, and you see the 08 gets just a little bit wide. There was some contact in front of them. The 4 was involved, and then the 08 gets sent around.
In the 4 car of Kadarius Reyes, or Kadarius Tave. As you see, I believe that behind him is a 30 car. Paul Granada just dives into that corner and launches up and unfortunately turns him around. But another good job from these guys of wreck avoidance, maybe besides the little rear end we saw up the racetrack there. But another good job of these guys. I believe that's the only damage he got. So, yeah. And I did mention again, Paul Granada did kind of dive into that corner, and you saw it started to go into a bit of a slide there. Again, that's the product of Richmond Racing while braking while turning. So I'll say it once and I'll say it many times again. It's a tough corner entry.
Yeah, and Charlie, you have the most experience here at Richmond, more than all of us. You ran the E-Trucks Night in America over the hosted session by Ryan Vargas, who hosted that, I believe, just shy of a month ago here at Richmond. I know it's way different cars. I know it's different power, different downforce, but is there anything specific you learned racing here at Richmond, especially that can apply to these guys in this race?
Well, I did learn a lesson that night, is definitely giving people some room. But that's on my part. But yeah, definitely people make some pretty good use of the little room that this racetrack has. And you know, it was obviously a good break for someone like me who's in the 2K iRating splits to race with all those high iRating drivers such as Ray Alfala, you know, Roger Carruth, all those guys who have pretty big names in the iRacing software. So it was definitely a good break, and we had a lot of fun running 3 wide, and obviously stressful to try to make it up the cut. But I didn't make your pass round to you, but it was still a really fun experience for me.
Yeah, it was super fun watching. I remember I was watching your Twitch stream, you going around the Richmond Raceway. That was a lot of fun. I would admit, I kind of wished I was part of that event myself, but I'm not very fast, so it probably was better for me to stay on the sidelines and just kind of cheer on. But I believe we've almost got the 2 to green signal here at Richmond. Blaze McKinney continues to lead on lap number 81, and once again, I'm surprised I haven't seen these guys dip down pit road for some tires or maybe even some fuel. But I know some drivers have probably taken advantage of the amount of cautions we've had tonight, and they've probably used that time to just turn their cars off for just a tad bit and get some of those extra drops of fuel that could potentially benefit them going into the latter portion of the race.
Yeah, and Blaze McKinney, the leader, is approaching a 50-lap stint here. So those tires are definitely worn, and I'm just very surprised. But it's gonna be a curve. I don't want to say kind of a learning curve, because once you get those fresh tires on, those are cold tires. Those are fresh off of the rack, and definitely when you get on cold tires, when they're not warmed up, when they're not gripped up, it's definitely a lot looser. So it's pretty easy to make a mistake, especially when you're on cold tires. So I mean, if I was up front, I would probably stay out on these warm tires, because those tires are if they're warm, and they're about 10 laps old. They're in prime position, but these guys are well past the tires, the suspected tire limit.
Yeah, Charlie has a point there. The tires obviously gotta wear in with around 10 laps with these drivers up front having their tires already worn, but we get the fun to green, or we are green.
Yeah, Blaze McKinney gets another really good jump here. He will have another pretty big lead, the dominator of the race so far, but my focus is on that 2 car. Jacob Taylor May sliding up into the 2nd spot. Also the 18 car moved himself up into a pretty good spot into the picture here.
Yeah, and look who's jumped into the picture. That's the 54 of Grayson Trexler, who got involved in many incidents earlier, but now he's worked himself into the latter portion of the top 10. You see a guy in the wall. Oh my goodness, almost made contact. That could have been something disastrous there for these guys up there, but pretty much Grayson Trexler with a big rebound right now. He could make a lot out of this race if he continues this run.
We see cars spinning in the background, and we got another caution out once again. That's the 30 car of Paul
Granada.
Paul Granada, that's his name. But we also saw the 08 car go around there. That's James Hill. So we'll go ahead and get you guys a replay here of this one right fast.
Yeah, James Hill involved in another incident tonight. You see they were going 3 wide going into turn 1. They kind of dipped low. James Hill was just peeking there right about the 16. The 16 gets hard into the outside wall, then collects James, and then also hooks the 30 of Paul Granada. So those guys just pretty much had nowhere to go on that situation there. But the 16 will get an onboard cam and see what happened down turn 2.
Yeah, and a good bit of damage does make that race car very tight, and it looks like he just hit the outside wall and collects the 08, the 30 car. So a 3-car incident here, but under caution once again.
Well, we appreciate all the viewers down, all the 18 viewers down in the KBRN Racing Network YouTube channel watching us right now on the stream. We appreciate you joining us past around 12 o'clock Eastern time at midnight. So we appreciate you guys sticking around and especially giving your support tonight. It's been a lot for us at KBRN within the past couple of weeks. We've been constantly working to bring you the best action here on the KBRN Racing Network and here with the iRacing Bundren Lawn Care Series. This series has already been a lot of fun. So of course we have a caution-filled night tonight, but it hasn't been short of interesting when it comes down to some of these tight battles.
Yeah, and for our viewers, if you want to join the conversation in our YouTube chat, join the conversation by using hashtag AskKBRN. We'll answer any question, whether it's about the race, about the broadcast, about us, about the channel, or if you're asking us what our favorite food is. So we do appreciate the fans, the fan participation chat. We really enjoy interacting with you guys. So any question works. We're just looking to have a good time.
Hey, I'm actually interested. I hope somebody asks what our favorite food is, because I'd love to go into an explanation of why it's my favorite food. So
I'm interested.
Hey, look, I'm down to talk about whatever, man. It is a fun night here in Richmond, and Memorial Day. It's a special night here tonight. So a special night deserves a special broadcast itself. So we're just trying to have a lot of fun here in the booth. But Eli, I want to ask you, since you haven't really given so much opinions right now, but I want to ask you, I know that we haven't seen a lot of people go down pit road, but I know that in this latter half of this race, I know if we kind of go down to crunch time, you think that might play a bigger role when it comes to how these drivers line up and how the field shakes up?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Okay, well, maybe it was just maybe I went a little bit too overboard there, but well, basically what I was asking is, do you think the pit strategy could play a bigger factor? I know it's not a bigger factor now, but if it could play a bigger factor coming on like probably 40 laps ago, 30 laps ago, if we get more caution.
Oh yeah, definitely. When it comes to crunch time, strategy will definitely play a big role with tires on restarts, who stays out, who doesn't. Short pitting, that will definitely be a difference. It'll be interesting to see what the fuel window, or if there is one. And look, there probably won't be with all these cautions. Still, I think it'll definitely make a difference if you want to take 2 tires out up front, but maybe get ran over by the cars that have 4 tires. But yeah, it'll definitely make
Yeah, I've been running out of water in my water bottle because I've been sipping water every single time we go down a caution flag, and it's running down pretty quickly. We've had a lot of cautions tonight, but hopefully we see it's a longer run. We could see a longer run, and that could really shake up the strategy. So Blaze McKinney and Jacob Tyler May continue to dominate the front of this field. The 18 of Trevor Kraus behind them, Jordan Kuntz, as we are back green on lap number 90.
And the 18 car does stick it down to the inside. He's going to have the advantage going into turn number 1. Another good start for him, but the outside momentum could help the 2 car down the back straightaway.
Yeah, Blaze McKinney continues to grow the lead, and here comes Joseph Costello, who might make a move on Parker White and the 27 of Jordan Kuntz. He's looking to make himself a factor in this race. There's another caution on the racetrack, and it has not taken long for another caution to come out. Not sure who that might have been, though.
To get a replay as we that's on the 17 car. Looks like, yeah, it was that 17 car. But it looks like he was just there. It looks like he was on the bumper of the 16 car. The 16 gets in the wall. Oh, looks like he had to check up a little bit and got into the 35 of Peter Kenny and went around from there.
Yeah, it looks like that started a chain reaction there. Charlie, go ahead.
Yeah, a bit of a sticky situation on the back straightaway. Yeah, but under caution, yet again, still no takers of the pits. I am surprised.
Wow.
These cars just began their 60-lap run, and the car on the freshest tires right now is currently sitting in a 7th. That is the 72 of Keola Hankins, my iRacing teammate, in fact, sitting there. But a lot of these guys, kind of outside the top 5, do have fresher tires, but Keola with the freshest, so we'll have to see if he can claw his way up there. But yeah, I'm shocked.
Yeah, I'm very shocked we haven't seen anyone go down pit road, and I'm sure we'll have to see that at some point within this race, and nobody continues to take down pit road, so it has been very odd. But you mentioned Keola Hankins with the freshest tires on the racetrack. Well, it seems as the older tires are prevailing. Blaze McKinney, Jacob Tyler May, Trevor Kraus among the drivers that have had a long run without pitting, and their tires must be shot by now, but they continue their momentum up front, and it seems as though they've kind of learned how to manage that car under old tires.
Yeah, and a lot of these guys, I can tell they just have the experience. You know, this is a very NIS type race. The length is pretty accurate. I believe NIS is about 200 laps. I haven't ran NIS in a very long time, so how would I know? But looks like cars might be a bit of tomfoolery here. Yep, a fake out. But that
was, yeah.
You know, I'm shocked. You know.
Yeah, that was a lot of people. I almost stopped for a second. I was thinking for like just a glimpse of a second that these guys are gonna go down pit road. I was gonna be like, oh my goodness, we can talk about some tire strategy here now. But looks like they were just doing a little bit of shenanigans on track before we go green. And now that the sun has already set, we haven't really talked about that much. We started the race under the sunset, but now the lights are starting to come on the racetrack, and the track gets cooler. That means just a little bit more grip for these race cars. Eli, do you think these guys could have a sort of easier drive around this track, or you think it's just as difficult as ever?
You know, I think it'll definitely play a role, but with these drivers up in front, they definitely have experience with this, so it'll definitely be interesting to see how they react.
Yes, sir. So on lap number 94 out of the 150 laps, still just about 60 or so laps left remaining in this race, and still a long way to go. It's been a long race already. We've already completed 95 laps. It's pretty much gone by in a blur, but now that these last 60 laps are just approaching, we're going to go into this crunch time segment, and we'll see what drivers really emerge from the fold. But Blaze McKinney, man, just very, very impressive tonight. I think he had some fuel to the fire when he had that tough night at Daytona, and that kind of motivated him to put a performance on here at Richmond. But I believe single file restarts this time. Yes, it is. Blaze McKinney leads the field, and very odd they're single file.
Yeah, definitely a change here. But that does allow these guys to jump to the inside of someone. It gives them more opportunities. But Parker White in that 75 car moving up. We saw him, and we got another car around on the back straightaway.
Oh my goodness.
95.
Yeah, somebody went hard in the wall.
Looks like we're staying green here, but a hard hit from the 95. Looks like he went straight to the wall, but Blaze McKinney, the great restart there, transitioning to the single file with the 2-car Jacob May trailing right behind.
Yeah, that was interesting. I mean, the caution didn't come out because I believe he was just involved down under the apron, so no cautions are called in iRacing. Naturally, when somebody goes crashing under the apron, it's only when they usually affect what happens on the track. But you see some battles right here. Jordan Kuntz fell back. Kilo Hankins is now taking advantage, and Joseph Costello peeks his way into the top 5.
Yeah, and, off the corner on the last side, just did brush the wall a little bit. Not any car or engine affecting damages, but he is in the top 5 right now, so a good run for him. But ran up front a little bit at Daytona. Obviously, our wreck kind of took him out, but another impressive performance for him. Blaze McKinney is starting to stretch that lead. Jacob Tyler May isn't out of it yet. If he could find something different that Blaze McKinney's doing and use it to his advantage, he could be able to catch up, but it's Blaze McKinney's race right now.
Yeah, it is all the 87. And I want to take a look at this top 5, top 10, excuse me. Grayson Trexler, Glenn Bundren, who had some trouble early in this race, is now working his way around the 54. He's had a better run tonight. I believe that's Preston Cope, who's working his way back there in the Exalted car. Yes, that is Preston Cope, who was involved in an incident earlier tonight. And this battle, Glenn Bundren, that's a good rebound after being involved in, I think, the first incident tonight. He was involved in the first caution we had here tonight. So what a change this has been for the 37 team.
Yeah, and a good rebound. Getting himself into the 8th position here, pulling away from Grayson Trexler. So what he wanted to see. And oh, the 2-car.
Oh my goodness. Jacob Tyler May slammed the outside wall coming off of turn 4. And oh my goodness, that pancake the side of the wall. We'll see a replay and see really what happened there, but he's going to lose a bunch of spots, and that means Trevor Kraus will take advantage of that 2nd position. We'll see what happened coming off of turn 4. Just, got loose and overcorrected, and boy, that's the first time we've really seen someone get loose down off the 4.
Yeah, and I said it once, I'll say it again. Richmond is a very loose racetrack, but fortunately the speeds don't get high enough to where aerodynamic really makes a huge factor. Obviously he's going to lose a bit more just because of damage itself, but he's going to obviously not what he wanted as we approach just under 50 laps to go, but battle for 2nd place is heating up here. Parker White onto that 18 car for the 2nd spot.
Like you said, aerodynamics play such a big role here, but another thing I'm looking at is since he hit that wall pretty hard right on the right side, looks like it's pretty damaged on that right side, if there could possibly be a tire rub on that thing, and possibly that 2-car Jacob May could have a flat tire coming anytime soon. So if I were him, I'd try to get some service as he's losing many positions. Yeah,
you mentioned aerodynamics, Charlie, and especially with a wall hit like that, it doesn't really affect the aerodynamics directly, but it's more so the handling of the race car, and that is probably the thing you need at this track is handling more than anything. And of course, with a hard hit to the wall, that's going to make the car just a little bit tighter, which means you're going to run slower. And then, case in point, you're going to be passed by a couple cars, and the 25 has already been passed by a handful of cars. But look at Blaze McKinney, just extended the lead hugely after that. He benefited very well from that incident, and especially those guys, Parker White and Trevor Kraus, who were battling now single file. But look at lap traffic coming through. We haven't seen this much in the race, but it could be a factor now.
Yeah, Blaze McKinney has a pretty impressive lead, just over 1.5 seconds here with Parker White, but Parker White is starting to pull away from that 18 car. We're just going to have to see if he can chop down into that race lead, and Joseph Costello moved himself into the 4th spot, obviously taking advantage of the misfortune of Jacob Tyler May. So, yeah, this is an opportunity to slide cars into the back into the top 5. Again, I said back into the top 5. Here comes Jordan Kuntz back there as well.
Yeah, Blaze McKinney continues to lead, and you see the 16 car was a lap down. The 87 passed the 32 of Sean Major, who had a promising run last week at Daytona. He had a really big save that was one of my favorites in the series. Oh my goodness, he gets in the wall. Looks like he'll get out of the way. of everybody within this top 5. So he'll make a move out of the way and he'll let these guys pass by. But look at this top 5. It's just very interesting to see, and especially back within the top 10. I mentioned the mid-pack and how good of a battle they've had. Well, now they've kind of spread out between each other, and now it's sort of a single file race. So I think now if we continue to have this green flag run, now that the drivers are separated just a little bit more, this could fuel more into the strategy, especially with the tires that I've talked about and these guys not pitting.
Yeah, and it'll definitely push us into a green flag pit stop here, as Blaze McKinney is on his 80th lap on these tires.
Goodness.
And the freshest tires I get, once again, is that 72 car of Keola Hankins, currently sitting just outside the top 5. So they're on a shorter pit strategy than a lot of these guys. So we're going to have to see if he can maybe, use this to his advantage. I don't know how. It'd definitely be wild. And we got a car stopped on the back straightaway there. And we got another caution.
Another caution on lap number 112. We saw the incident of the driver down there. You see Jacob Tyler May on pit road. I'm not sure whether he might have been involved in that, but there was a guy who went around, a driver who went around down on the back straightaway, and we will take a look and see who that was. We'll take the replay. You see the onboard with Blaze McKinney, who was just kind of strolling through Richmond Raceway as the laps, and you see somebody dive down into the wall and hit the wall pretty hard. That actually might have been Jacob Tyler May. No, it's Peter Kenny, actually. Never mind.
Yeah, 35 Peter Kenny goes aground, and Jacob Tyler May in the pits here, or at this time. This is kind of a life-saving or race-saving caution. He went back and got that pit service, but he is a lap down, looking to get his lap back. But down the pit road, finally we see some pit stops.
Finally! Oh my goodness, that's the first time we've seen pit road stops in a while, and now this could be the difference between who gets a better run at the end of this race and who does right now. We see Blaze McKinney going down pit road, the rest of the field down pit road, and I feel like if you're Blaze McKinney, you really don't have any complaints about that car whatsoever.
Yeah, definitely. As he's looking to get some pit service right here. And
see how this race shakes up.
Pit road. Race off of
Parker
pit road.
White.
Oh.
That might have been Parker White, just by just a couple of inches.
Yeah, a very close race off of pit road. He might have gotten it. Holy cow, that is...
Wow.
Impressive pit stop, impressive pit entry. Nailed it pretty hard, right on the head. And,
well, that was a perfect stop if you're Parker White. That couldn't have worked out any better. He was running within the top 5, and now he has grasp of the lead. So this could change up who basically takes control of this race, and it could mean some control from that 95 that we see here tonight.
Yeah, but Kadarius Tave, goodness gracious, is leading the race right now. But if we look at our pit stops, we see the 95 car did get about half a second faster, almost a full second, about 7/10 faster than Blaze McKinney. So he nailed that pit stop on the head, and he got himself out front. So it's going to be a fun battle watching these two, but Kadarius Tave is staying out on the racetrack.
Yeah, Kadarius Tave, especially he had a really, really fast pit stop, so I believe that might have been maybe a 2-tire car or maybe some fuel or what have you, but I think that if we go into this restart, that 95 could have a really good run on the restart. It just depends on how they shake up and what line the Ford chooses. Obviously, he might choose the inside line, but we'll just see what happens. You see the field continues to pace around on what is lap number 116 of the 150 laps for tonight. And man, this has been a very, very long race, and we're pretty much nearing the end of it, Charlie.
Yeah, and definitely we've seen a lot of good racing here. We saw a few pretty long green flag runs here, so just like that last run was a good bit. So I'm looking forward. I'm hoping we see some good laps and or good green flag racing, I should say. Goodness gracious, it's been a long one.
Alright, as we're winding down, we have could see some strategy coming in tonight. Blaze McKinney has dominated this whole thing tonight, but I'm interested to see if there's some strategy coming to these final laps where some cars could get out in front of him these last final laps. maybe take the win from him, but definitely Blaze McKinney seems to be the favorite.
Yeah, and we mentioned there was 23 cars on the lead lap just a while ago, but now it's just shrink down to 20, so it continues to narrow down for these drivers tonight. But the pace car will come off of pit road. Kadarius Tave and Parker White will lead the field to green. Blaze McKinney and the 18 of Trevor Krause will be right behind them as the green flag is back out on lap number 118.
And Blaze McKinney, who's been the dominator of the race, looking right behind on that bumper into turn number 1. We'll see how good of a start we get. And the 95 car up the racetrack. A loose race car for him. We're going to go 3 wide on the back straightaway. Joseph Costello looking there. And a bit of contact. The 95 around.
Oh, he goes around into the outside wall. That'll trigger the caution very easily. Looks like he didn't make contact with anyone else, but a hard hit for Parker White. I think I might have jinxed him. I said he might have been. Oh my goodness, look at the 99 having to slam on the brakes to get around him. But oh my goodness, that was a tough run for that 95. He looks like he already got loose coming into turn number 1 on the restart, and just really didn't catch up from there. He was going 3 wide and then got tapped by Trevor Krause. And then around he goes into the outside wall.
Yeah, and the 18 car just looked like a little bit of a misjudgment, went up into him and overcorrected into the outside wall. So unfortunate for the 95 car, who was running a very good race. But this Joseph Costello into the 3rd spot. The furthest up he's been up front all night. Also, this is an opportunity for people like Kelan Hankins, Glenn Bundren, and Grayson Chexter in that 54 car. Also, Preston Cope has been on a mission this entire race to move back into the picture. So a lot of unfamiliar faces in this race trying to move up front from the misfortune of our lead lap runners.
Well, we're going to get one interview in while that we're under caution for another time here tonight, and it'll be with JJ Hill, who had his night ended early after a rough couple of laps, and he was involved within the last couple of cautions. We'll drag him in, and Eli, I'll let you interview him on this one.
James, welcome to the KBRN Studios. You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Obviously, you're out of the race here. Unfortunate end to your night here. Can you please talk me through what happened there to end your night?
Well, really, it all started earlier on in the night. Accidentally used the fast repair, and then got taken out twice by my Dr. Pepper Esports teammate, Henry Tabor. And after that, we got a lot of damage, and we were just riding around in the back pretty much, and then just ended up blowing an engine there, and that was the end of the day.
Very unfortunate. Very unfortunate into the night here. Have you been watching, as you've been watching this race, do you have any predictions that you sit out and watch the rest of the race? Do you have any predictions for the end of the race?
Blaze McKinney's been the car to beat the entire night. He's led pretty much this entire race, it seemed like, and I don't think anybody's going to beat him unless they dump him. So I'm just going to take Blaze McKinney, and hopefully Dr. Pepper Esports shows out a little bit better now in the race. It's been a struggle for the guys today, but hopefully things will turn around tonight and then get better.
Yeah, definitely. Such an unfortunate to your night tonight. But before we let you go, anybody who you want to thank?
Yeah, I got to thank EEL Media, James Benjamin's designs for the paint scheme, and then Budweiser, Rowdy Energy, and Dr. Pepper Esports.
All right. Good luck next week here in the Bundren Series. Sorry for your playing to your night tonight, but thanks for stopping by.
Oh, yeah, thanks, guys.
That was JJ Hill, who had his night unfortunately cut short with a blown engine and involved in those wrecks early on. And he mentioned Dr. Pepper Esports here tonight. We haven't seen too much of them within this field. I know they had a struggling night in Daytona, but tonight they've also had a little bit of a struggle. I know I mentioned Kelan Belsha a while back. He's near the back of the field. Henry Tabor is there. Peter Kenny among those drivers in Dr. Pepper Esports, and they really haven't had a good night tonight.
Yeah, and obviously just not the night that they really wanted here. So obviously unfortunate here, but pace car lights are off, and we're going to go green flag racing. Another single fire restart, as you saw, kind of almost a restart wreck. That's kind of the policy, is if you wreck on the restart, it changes the single file. So we're going to go back racing here. Blaze McKinney obviously looking for...
Oh no, it does not. Overcorrects in the middle of the field. Hard contact with Joe Kanako, and another caution is triggered early.
Looks like he was gonna save that one there, but just too much for him to handle there and lost him into the wall.
Yeah, and Costello made a pretty aggressive move down the inside, just washed up a little bit, but the 4-car did kind of squeeze him down just a little bit, so no blame placed on that one, but some pretty big hits to the 80 car, the 46 car of Joe Knuckle, so another unfortunate wreck for a guy who ran up front.
Yeah, with that wreck, Jordan Kuntz is now into the 3rd spot, so he sneaks in there after that wreck. And what a tough break for Kadarius Tave, who made a really good move on the pit stops to take the lead, and you know, and then he fell back to 2nd, but he was still having a good run. And if it went green, I feel like he could have had a possibility to get a good finish if it went green the rest of the way through. But a tough break for the 4 of Kadarius Tave. It almost looked like he saved it. That would have been so fun if he had saved that. That would have been insane.
Yeah, as we see the 60 car after the incident all the way up to 2nd place, so we see him stay around the top 10 all night, but to see that 60 of Joseph Costello right up front with continuing with the 87 of Blaze McKinney.
Yeah, and Joseph Costello could make a run for the win if this goes green the rest of the night, which hasn't been the trend so far, but if it happens, Joseph Costello could make a good move for the win. And he's had some experience at Richmond. I've talked to him before the race began, just a couple of hours before race time, and he was mentioning that he has run Richmond a bunch of times before and that he really enjoys the track. So, you know, Joseph Costello making the most out of his time right now at Richmond, and he's in 2nd, so he's got a really good shot.
Yeah, but we saw a bit of an aggressiveness, so that is showing that these laps are winding down. These drivers are desperate to try to claw for almost every position they can, and we saw it on the restarts. So these guys are done giving each other enough room, and they're going to start squeezing them down. Lots of aggressiveness coming in, and we're going to restart with just over 20 laps to go here. So over an hour and 30 minutes of racing. It all comes down to this. It's crunch time.
Yes, it is crunch time, and if you're these guys behind Blaze McKinney, you want to make the best moves you can to take the win and do whatever you can to gain any position out on racetrack and gain some points, especially to take advantage of the guys who did not show up or are having struggling nights here at Richmond. But so far, just about 12:30 Eastern, we continue to thank every viewer down there in the YouTube chat for bringing the support to KBRN here for the Bundren Lawn Care Series. It's been a fun time tonight, and hopefully we can continue to bring these great broadcasts through the future and through next weekend and so on. So, of course, thank you all for watching this broadcast, and especially if you're on the East Coast, of course, thank you, because you know we're sacrificing your time to stay up late to watch some action here at KBRN. So, of course, thank you. And if you want to continue to join the conversation, you can by posting hashtag AskKBRN and then asking your question. You can ask any question to the broadcast booth, and especially to any specific people in the booth. You can go around the broadcast, the race itself, and anything else in general. So you can go ahead and join the conversation. We'll be sure to answer that within just a couple minutes after you publish that comment. But looks like we're going green once again, single file, and I'm not sure what happened to Joseph Costello. It seems he kind of fell back. I'm not sure whether he pitted or whether something happened, but now that means Jordan Kuntz and Glenn Bundren go into 2nd and 3rd. As you see, Joseph Costello might have pitted there, but looks like we're going green, back green at lap number 130. Blaze McKinney takes control once again.
Yeah, and you do get an EOL if you do cause a wreck, so I guess they placed the blame on Costello for that one. But back here in 2nd, here comes Glenn Bundren, who got caught up in a wreck, one of the first wrecks of the race. He's moving up here. A lot of these guys who have been in the back, a lot of unfamiliar faces starting to come up. Kayla Hankins, we saw taking a tire strategy there, and we are 3 wide. An amazing move by that 72 car.
Oh,
almost gets on the apron. And
wow.
Caution's back out again.
Oh man, that kind of ruined the fun. We were looking at some great racing between Kiloa Hankins, Glenn Bundren and such, but Darren Myers looks like he goes around on the racetrack. We'll take a replay and see what happened. He was going around turns 3 and 4. Another incident for Darren Myers in turns 3 and 4. Looks like that's not really the place to be for him tonight, but looks like he's going down the 3, kind of gets a little bit too deep, and then that's enough to send him around and into the outside wall. Just a hard contact for the 09 and Darren Myers, and pretty much from bad to worse night for him.
Yeah, and these cautions are pushing us later and later into a shorter run here, but I wanna go back and look at a replay of this 3-wide move that Keola Hankins made. Very impressive to take back or to take a spot here. So see him right here. It's like yeah, Glenn just kind of watched at the track and took advantage of that. The 72 did, and sucker hole for the 37 and almost loses control of that race car with the corner, but an impressive move for that 72 car.
Yeah, it was very, very impressive, and I feel like if there was no caution, it would have kept going, and that would have been very, very fun to watch. But caution comes out and kind of shortens them back out. But I feel like they might continue that battle if we go back green, and Jordan Kuntz might be looking at those guys, just kind of feeling a little bit of the pressure. And speaking of pressure, Eli, do you think Blaze McKinney is now feeling just a little bit more pressure? You think it's kind of snowballing to him now that we're approaching about 20 laps to go?
Answer. Nope. He's dominating all night long. I think he'll be able to continue that tonight. We've seen him on every single restart getting quite a sizable lead. It's just a front stretch, so I don't think so. I think he's just chilling, relaxing back in his back home in his sim, just cruising some laps and dominating this race. But I personally don't think he feels any pressure. He's been doing his thing all night long, and I believe he'll be able to continue it all the way to the checkered.
I was gonna make a joke about maybe him playing under pressure in his car, but like under pressure. You know, just kind of feeling that, but you know what? I guess maybe he isn't. Maybe he's just kind of vibing, and he's just kind of keeping himself cool and kind of hitting his marks, which he pretty much has been doing all night. You see, there's not even a scratch on that 87 car. I believe he's just tapped the wall just a couple of times, but it's only been off of turn 2, and it's only been just the slightest bit of contact that it's just barely noticeable. So. What I'm interested in seeing is this top 5. It's been pretty much shuffling throughout the entire race. And Charlie, do you think we can see more shuffling? I know we've seen some more aggressive battles between these guys, but now that we see some guys who are working their way back up, now that we're getting some attrition, you think these guys are going to probably gun it out?
Yeah, definitely. And we saw some aggressive moves on that last little run there. But one car I'm looking at who hasn't really gotten back up to where he was. I'm looking at that 47 car of Preston Cope. He did fall out of the top 5, top 10 earlier and hasn't really recovered, but this is his chance as we're going to restart with just under 15 laps to go. This is his chance to gain some positions and maybe get back into the podium position.
Yeah, this is it if you're Preston Cope, who was running second place, started on the outside of the front row, and after some contact and some issues, he hasn't really been able to get back up to speed in front of these guys. But I feel like I agree with you. I think that within these restarts he could potentially make some more moves, and especially now that we're starting single file, he doesn't have to worry about being stuck on the outside, so he can pretty much choose any line he so desires. So that could be a very, very good position if you're that 47 car. But down the back straightaway, we'll get your race summary presented by Supermix. 135 laps completed out of the 150 run tonight. We have 16 laps to go. We've had 7 lead changes. We've had 15 cautions, a bunch of cautions, and we've run them for 76 laps. And of course, your leader is the 87 of Blaze McKinney. As we go down to lap number 137, the green flag is back out what could be the final stint of this race.
Could be, you say, but definitely it could be, but it definitely could not be, as we see a bunch of aggressive racing tonight, further out in like the middle of the pack. So don't be surprised we have some more caution and some strategy, which could give the 87 some pressure, but wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't.
Yeah, a bit of a battle here for the final podium position. We saw Kelan Hankins fight that race car on the front stretch there, and we saw Bundren fight the race car into turn number 1. So these race cars are worn down. These drivers are tired of racing this long, and they're looking to get it over with here. But back up front, Blaze McKinney looking to be his 9th.
Boy, look at 7th and 8th place. That is James Youngerman and the 46 of Joe Kanako, looking like modifieds out there on the racetrack. As more contact behind them, that was the 18, and I mentioned Joe Kanako, who was battling with James Youngerman, but seems as though he fell back between Jackson Steiner, Jacob Tyler May, and Joseph Costello in the bunch there. But they are damaged race cars, but they are doing their best to keep their runs alive and their hopes alive of a good finish tonight. As we approach just about 10 laps to go, Blaze McKinney continues to lead. You look at Glenn Bundren down in 4th place, and it seems as though these battles have kind of dwindled just a little bit, and Jordan Kuntz continues to fall back to the grasp of Keloa Hankins, and behind them Grayson Trexler and Preston Cope might make a battle for I believe that is the top 5. So
yeah, Keloa Hankins with a late race run to the front, and he is trying to hold on to that podium spot. Glenn Bundren is not done racing him yet. He's going to try to get close and battle for that spot. So riding at your top 5 so far is Grayson Trexler, but that 47 car is an aggressive racer and is looking to rebound from his past troubles. So, and we got another caution out yet again.
Oh man, another yellow 16th caution of the night. That is Parker White, who went hard into the outside wall, and you see the damage already on his car, but we'll take a replay and see what happened. He was within the grasp of Jackson Steiner and the 4 of Kadarius Tave and Jacob Tyler May within those guys, and looks like off of 2 just doesn't seem to be a big issue there, but oh, there it is. Kadarius Tave gets into him and then sends him around and almost sends Jackson Steiner around himself, but Jesus, wow, that was very tough between those guys there.
Yeah, and tough for sure, but this is going to push us into a short green flag run. I'm getting pretty excited.
Again, yeah. I don't know. I've seen Blaze McKinney push it very, very hard, and he's pretty much grown the gap. But this could be different. Maybe this time, if we can see Jordan Kuntz get a better start. Keloa Hankins has been looking into that top 3. He might be gunning for 2nd position. I believe he was catching Jordan Kuntz within those laps as they were starting to wind down. But just an interesting thing. Another short green flag run. And this race has pretty much gone down to the short run car.
Yeah, definitely, but this could push us into a 4-3 and maybe even a 2-lap dash here. It's all eyes are on Blaze McKinney if he can hold them off, but that guy is an experienced driver. He's raced a lot of NIS races, has that Cup car experience, especially at this track, and I believe he can hold them off. But Kenneth, I have to ask you, what is your prediction?
Man, I don't really see anybody challenging Blaze McKinney tonight. He has been putting on a hell of a performance, and he has been basically growing the gap every single time that we've got the restart. So I don't think it's going to be any different. I think he's just going to be continuing to hitting his marks like he has been this entire race. So I don't really see anything different. But what I'm really looking at is the 27 of Jordan Kuntz, Keloa Hankins, Glenn Bundren, and those guys. I think that's going to be the most interesting thing to watch for as we approach these laps. Eli?
Yeah, definitely. I don't think Blaze will hold up any. I believe he'll be able to cruise her into the end of the night. So I agree with you, that battle back there. But you also got to remember points. Points will also be shaking up a lot with these cars behind the 87. So it's not just the battle for the win. It's also the battle for the points with these cars behind the 87.
Yeah, that's a good point you bring up, Eli. You bring up the point standings, and we've been talking about it just a little bit throughout this race. But now that we've gotten to the topic, that point standings will look very, very different by the time we get to race 3 at Homestead Miami Speedway, and it'll probably continue to shift on and it'll start to narrow down just a bit more as we get through the rest of this season. But a very, very long season. We have 16 races, so still a long way to go, and especially 9 races in the regular season, so still a while left to go for the point standings. But as we approach 5 laps to go, Blaze McKinney still up front, Jordan Kuntz behind him. Keloa Hankins rounds out the podium. I think they might be going double file this time by, if I'm not mistaken. That's up to the admins to decide whether we go single file. They might go double file this time by, so yeah, they do go double file. This will be a double file restart, so that will be even more interesting considering that we've had single file restarts the past couple of times.
something different to shake it up with 5 to go to do something, a challenge for the 87, anything to challenge him, but not too much for challenge him because he's been dominating all night. But yeah, definitely something different for these cars to adjust to. They did have a single file all night long, except for the last couple ones we were single file, so something different for these cars.
Yeah, and the intensity is ramping up here. We're gonna get a 3-lap dash to the finish. Kelan Hankins sitting in that spot. It's easy to make a 3-wide move for the lead here, but obviously Kelan, I've raced with him a lot. He's my teammate. He is a conservative kind of driver, but green flag here. Just 3 laps to go, and a bit of checkup here.
Oh, the 27
Oh
gets
my
up
goodness.
to 37 and my bad. Glenn Bundren just gets up into the wall and rides it for a little bit as he'll lose so many spots. 7 just tried to defend that position, it looked like, and put the 37 into the wall, but Blaze McKinney, after all this chaos going on behind him, with a beautiful restart as we go up to 2 to go. 2 laps to go for this 87 car here at Richmond.
Yeah, Kelan Hankins moved into the 2nd place position, and look how far this top 5 has really shifted. Now you see the 18 of Trevor Kraus moving into that thing, and oh, another caution. Oh, a big pile up. Parker White involved, Paul Granada, Jackson Steiner, Darren Myers, James Youngerman. It looked like Paul Granada. They all look like modifieds out there. Look at their engines hanging out. Boy, that was big.
Oh yeah, that's a huge pile up right behind the front pack cars. Not sure what happened right there, but there's so many cars there without front bumpers. If we see the 4 get into the 47 and turn them around and right in the corner and collect so many cars in there. That's a terrible wreck. There's so many cars included in that wreck. For anyone who got collected in that, but product of that 4 cars move on that 47 just screws up a bunch of drivers behind them. You gotta understand what your moves could do there. Just trying to get some position on a car. It's not really that important back there, and then you're such a big wreck like that. For the cars, like
Well, you know what that means, Charlie?
Overtime.
Yes, sir. A green-white checkered that we'll have tonight. We'll have another 2-lap dash and possibly decide the end of this. We will stretch it to 3 green-white checkered attempts if they continue to have cautions before they reach the white flag. And we had this extend to 2 green-white checkers last week at Daytona. You think we might have to extend this a little bit more?
Well, we'll just have to see, but I can already tell you that this is going to be wild. Kelan Hankins moved himself into the 2nd spot. We're going to see if he has anything for that 87 car. Also, Grayson Trexler, another aggressive driver. I can tell you that from personal experience. He's ready to make a move whenever he can, and we'll just have to see what happens. Jordan Kuntz in that 27 car. A bit of damage there, but he's been running up front all night. He has the speed, but it's a little bit of damage. But running your top 5 little view here, Trevor Kraus, that 18 car. Again, a driver who ran up front a little bit, but is looking like a modified in that front end.
Yeah, a lot of cars are looking like modifieds tonight. That is very interesting. We might just call this race and just have a little modified scrimmage between a lot of these guys. But still, it seems as though that top 5 was just shaken up completely after Glenn Bundren got put in the wall. It seems as Jordan Kuntz didn't have the start he wanted, kind of spun the tires, and then that started a chain reaction behind him. And then Glenn Bundren had to ride the wall until he was clear of all the cars under him, and he fell all the way back down. But now that we are approaching our first green-white checkered attempt, this is the time where a lot of these guys get a little bit more ruthless, and they start to get any position they can grab and go for any open space that they could get on the track, even if they have to take it 3 wide, even if they have to put themselves in a tough position where they might have to move the guy out of the way. It will happen. And you think Kelan Hankins could get within grasp of this 87 car and possibly make a bump and run?
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if we see absolute chaos in these last 2 laps. Everyone's fighting for every position, and they know that they have a bumper, and that bumper is there for a reason. And these guys are definitely not afraid to use it, even if it costs someone the win, even if it costs them a good finish. They just want to go ham.
Well, for some drivers, it's the radiator, not even the bumper. So.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but definitely, I wouldn't be surprised to see that 72 make a move on that 87. That is, if he can't get to him, you see basically all of these restarts, the 87 of Blaze McKinney just takes such a big lead off of that front stretch. So take anything the 72 has to stay with him. But if he does, I wouldn't be surprised to see a move made by that 72.
Yeah, it has been a long race, and this could be the final attempt. This could be the only attempt at a green-white checkered if we don't get a caution between now and between the time they get the checkered flag. I mean the white flag, excuse me. But here we go. Attempt number 1 at a green-white checkered. We will extend it to 3 if they continue to cause cautions. But Blaze McKinney, Kiloa Hankins on the front row. Grayson Trexler, Jordan Coons behind them. Green flag back out for the green-white checkered.
Another good start for Blaze McKinney. Gets out front. A couple car lengths ahead of Grayson Trexler. But back to the inside. Here comes the 7-4 of Kelan Hankins there. But Blaze McKinney has a pretty comfortable lead now.
Yeah, solid lead for the 87, and it's all up to the guys behind them as he will approach turn number 4. Joseph Costello gets widely loose, but the 87 takes the white flag one more time for him in Richmond.
And an absolutely dominating performance for that 87 car. Got out front, got the pole, led the most laps, and is in position to take his first win of the season. Fighting for second place back there, but nonetheless, off of turn number 4, the checkered flag is in the air. Blaze McKinney takes the first, he takes his first win of the season at Richmond.
A blazing start calls for a blazing finish, and Blaze McKinney takes the checkered flag for his first win of the season in the iRacing Bundren Lawn Care Series. What a redemption story for him. Had a very troublesome night at Daytona, and now with this win, that shoots him wildly up the point standings. You see the 60 of Joseph Costello giving him a little love tap, giving his congratulations. Boy, what a finish we saw there to the line. There was a lot of battling behind them. Kiloa Hankins gets second place. Grayson Trexler down in third. That'll round out the top 3. As you see, the smoke is rising from the tires of Blaze McKinney.
Yeah, definitely not a surprise winner here. Is Blaze obviously a great short track racer here, but dominates tonight as we see a 80 car bumping into him a little bit there. But yeah, a dominating performance by Blaze McKinney here. Finishes are off and able to get the win here.
What a race. What a caution-filled event, but Blaze McKinney was not fazed by either one of those, I believe, 17 cautions we had tonight. A record-setting caution counter here at Richmond. And boy, just what a finish we saw here tonight. And we're going to look at the results before we get to the interviews. We'll see the results on your screen as they run, as the official results after they cross the line. Blaze McKinney with his first career win in the iRacing Bundren Lawn Care Series this season. Kiloa Hankins finishes second, just about a second behind Grayson Trexler after a troubled night and pretty much being upside down on the front stretch early in the race. Finishes third. Kadarius Tave with an impressive up and down run. He finishes 4th in the 4 car. Jordan Coons finishes 5th. Joseph Costello in 6th. Jacob Tyler May, after a very promising run, finishes 7th. Parker White, Chase Rogers, and Ryan Potter finishes within the top 10.
Outside your top 10, Kelan Belsha finishes just outside the top 10 with an 11th place finish. Henry Tabor, another Dr. Pepper Esports teammate beside Kelan Belsha, finishes 12th. Trevor Kraus finishes in the 13th position. And here's where we start to get into the modifieds that we saw. Jackson Steiner, the 8 car, finishes 14th. James Youngerman finishes 15th. Sean Major finishes 16th in that 32 car. Preston Cope in the 47 finishes 17th. Glenn Bundren Jr. in that 37 car finishes 18th. Paul Crown at 19th, and Joe Notchell will round out your top 20 positions.
Charlie said we were from 21st at 30th, a bunch of cars with carnage. But we got the 09 of Darren Myers, the 35 of Peter Kenny, the 08 of James Hill, 5 of Dominic Britt, 18 of Jackson Hartman, 9 of Dylan Freeman, 15 of Felix Grace, the 10 of Mark Love, the 33 of Scott McGrath.
And rounding out your finish, these guys didn't even start, so. Well, that's going to be your race here. We're going to go ahead and start interviews. I think Kenneth is going to start us off with our race winner.
All right, well, Blaze McKinney, we're going to bring him into the booth. First of all, Blaze McKinney, welcome to the KBRN booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, I interviewed you pre-race, and you had some good feelings about the car, and what a dominating performance you put on here tonight in Richmond. Just tell us how your race went and pretty much what your mindset was knowing that there were so many cautions on the racetrack tonight.
Yeah, that's why I knew track position was key. We were going to have so many cautions. It's just, you wanted to be out front. I knew even if we didn't have a lot of cautions, I had a good feeling about the long run. The car was really good. Just happy about the performance. Last week wasn't the greatest, so I wanted to come out here and try to get a good finish for the team, and took the win. I don't know how many laps we led, but I know we're out front for a lot of them. We had a couple of restarts there where we got stacked up, and we had to come back through the field, but it was fun overall. I had a great race. It was pretty fun overall.
Well, you asked how many laps you led. You led 134 of the 150 laps run here tonight, so practically almost the entire race. That was a dominating performance for you tonight. And I want to ask you, because we were kind of wondering up in the booth throughout the race, is that you went on just about a 60-lap run without going down pit road, not even once throughout the bunch of cautions that were happening in between. Just, was that part of your strategy, or you kind of knew that your car was better on older tires?
Yeah, I mean, I felt like the whole race, like whatever I did, the people behind me were going to do. So if I stayed out, they were just going to stay out with me, so I didn't have to worry about like anybody on fresher tires getting me. So, and I knew we were going to have probably like another run later in the race where we are going to go like 10 or 15 laps, so then I would have pit. So that's what I waited for. And I was kind of worried about fuel there at the end. Before I made that last pit stop, we weren't going to make it. So I was lucky to get a caution, and I could come in and pit and get fuel and tires, and then got back to the front. So yeah, I was a little worried about fuel, but tires, I think we were all right.
Well, Blaze, before we let you go and let you celebrate your win here tonight, you got anybody you want to thank tonight?
Yeah, Crystal Designs for coming along on the hood tonight and like all these races. Peak Performance Motorsports giving me a great car, and I really glad to run for them each and every week. It's a great team. iRacing Media and Bundren Lawn Care.
Seems like everybody reps Bundren Lawn Care tonight, and it is
Yeah.
right. It is right enough to do so.
I mean, it is the series name after all.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, Blaze, congratulations on an outstanding performance tonight. We hope to see you next race at Homestead, and I know I've raced with you at Homestead in the Xfinity cars last year, and it was a batch of fun, and I know you dominated that as well. So we hope to see you next week at a Homestead, and of course, congratulations on the victory tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
Blaze McKinney wins his first race of the iRacing Bundren Lawn Care Series in this season, and what a great performance for him. And we were watching him all race, just shooting up to the front and never let go. And I'm going to let Charlie go into the next interview. I believe we have Kelan Hankins next in the booth. So, Charlie, I'll let you take this one away.
Yep, next up into the booth, the 72 car of Kelan Hankins. You got a copy with us?
I do indeed.
Well, you scored yourself a second place finish after a wild last half of the race. So talk us through how you managed to get up there.
I mean, it was just a matter of going from the back to the front. I had a penalty early on for causing one of the cautions, and I just drove back up through the field. And there were also a lot of people that probably should have finished ahead of me that got sent back. So I guess I got really lucky position-wise in that regard.
Yeah, and you started pretty close behind Blaze McKinney on that final start, on that final restart. Do you think you had anything for him, or is, he obviously was the class of the field, but do you think you had any speed for him at that last part of the run?
No, I mean, I don't know. Blaze is just a really fast driver all around, and even if I had a good restart, I don't think I would have had the speed. I never had the speed for it in the first place, but I don't know. It's just, I don't know. I improved my race a lot at Richmond. I was like hanging mid-pack, and then I raced up to the front. And you know, Blaze drove a really great race, dominated all day, so he deserved that win, I should say.
All right. Well, yo, we appreciate you coming out here tonight. But before we send you off, do you have anybody or sponsors or teams you want to thank?
I don't think I'm affiliated with a team this week yet, but I will thank whatever the heck is on my car. I don't know. I just ripped it off of Trading Paints, and I look like this week tonight. And thank you guys for broadcasting. I heard it was great, so yeah, keep doing what you're doing.
All right. Well, we appreciate the support, and we wish you luck come next week at, I believe, Homestead. So we'll see you there, and good luck.
Thank you.
That was Keela Hankins siding himself outside of the booth. Next up in the booth, a 54 car of Grayson Trexler. So we're gonna, yeah. We'll
have Eli take this one away, actually.
Yeah, Eli's gonna take this one away, deciding in the booth.
Hey, Grayson, this is Eli up in the KBRN booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
You had a bit of a wild race today. You're involved in a couple of incidents. Nice, big wreck early on when you were on your hood, but take me through your race tonight. Tell me how it went, the ups and downs. Just let me know how it went.
I mean, once I wrecked, I just tried to stay in the back as much as I can, and but the whole race was caution, so just kind of played my cards right and made my way up to the front.
What do you think you did? You did it right. If you were in the back of the field on that after wrecking, what do you think you did right to make your way up, all the way in the back of the field, all the way to third position?
Just avoiding wrecks. That was the biggest thing tonight. If you could avoid a wreck, you were gonna go to the front.
Yeah, definitely. Finished third tonight. Do you think you had any that 72 car? Probably not the 87 dominated tonight. Think you could have made a move at 72? You regret not doing anything or anything like that?
I mean, me and the 72 had a good race. I mean, he's the one who flipped me back over after I rolled on the front stretch, so I couldn't really take him out for second place. So, I mean, it's whatever. Top 3 is perfectly fine in my books. I should be the point leader after that result.
Yeah, definitely a good race tonight. Had some ups and downs tonight, but definitely fought back to finish podium tonight. So good race tonight, Grayson. You got any sponsors you want to thank before you leave? I
just want to thank Jordan and Jackson and James. They were all working with me tonight. The TCS guys. I mean, we all had a good show.
Thank you. Thanks for coming, Grayson. Glad to have you.
Thanks.
That was Grayson sliding himself outside of the booth, and I believe next up we have Kadarius Taves. So we're gonna go ahead and send this one off to Kenneth for this one.
All right, well, we're gonna give Kadarius Tave his interview after a very promising run. I'll slide him into the booth and see what he is. I believe he's muted, but Kadarius Tave, welcome to the KBRN studios. You got a copy?
He's muted.
All right, he's muted. Okay, well, I think we'll slide to another driver before we get there. I want to go talk to Joseph Costello and see what his race is like, because he had a great race tonight, and he really worked his way through the mid portion of the field, and he came up with a 6th place finish tonight, so I want to ask him about that. Joseph, welcome to the KBRN studios. You got a copy?
I got a copy with you.
All right, Joseph. Well, what a hard-fought race for you tonight. You know, we had some heartbreak at Daytona last week, but now that you finished within the top 10 and you really had a promising night tonight, just tell us how that feels to kind of get that monkey off your back, knowing that you're coming here with a good finish.
I felt like I deserved more. We had a little incident with the 4-car around, I think around lap 120. It sucked because I felt like we had a race-winning car. It could have been battle between me and Blaze. Just sucked, and driving to the front of the field after starting pretty much 19th, which is like the back half of the field, driving up to 6th. I felt like we could have done a lot better, but we didn't have enough laps, so.
Well, regardless, you still made a very, very good charge up front, and you were up there within the top 3 for most of the latter portion of the races. Did the car start to feel just a little bit more comfortable over the course of this run? I know we had a lot of cautions, so it didn't really test the long-run speed of the car, but do you think over the run, did you think you kind of got a little more comfortable with the car, and that kind of allowed you to take advantage on the other guys?
Fortunately for me, I like loose race cars. Not too loose, but tonight I feel like the cars just got comfortable in my kind of looseness. So I really think it got really comfortable with me, whether it was a short run or the long run speed. I feel like we had a little bit more on the long run speed. We definitely had some short run speed, as you saw, driving from 19th to 6th. But we definitely were getting the long run speed if we had more green flag laps on.
Yeah, it was a race of full, basically short run green flag stints, and before we got those cautions. But before we let you go, Joseph, you got anybody you want to thank here tonight for making things happen?
Yeah, I just want to thank basically just JC Graphics, Wave Around News. I'm still teamless, looking for a team in iRacing. Hopefully 2020 in real life comes a better season. I really don't want to exercise my parents and all my friends. Thank you guys for broadcasting, and thanks Glenn for hosting the league.
All right, Joseph, well, you finished 6th, so a great race for you tonight. We hope to see you at Homestead next week. It hopes to be a pretty good race down there at Miami. So we hope to see you there, and good luck.
Thank you.
Joseph Costello, he finishes 6th after a great run, and we are down to the final man in the interview booth, and that is the grass man himself of Bundren Lawn Care, the owner of the Bundren Lawn Care Series, Kelan Bundren. So I'm going to give Charlie the honors of doing this final interview for this race here tonight.
Well, Glenn, you got us. What? Oh boy, I messed this up already.
I
Glenn,
got you.
Yeah, you got us.
I got you.
All right, well, Glenn, an unfortunate ending for you. We saw in that restart, you kind of slipped up. Talk us through what happened there.
Well, I thought I had a car capable of the podium, and Blaze went, and I think the 27 spun his tires. I went to the outside. He blocked, which he should have blocked to check the position, and I kind of got a glitch, and my car went up in the air on my screen at least. I hit the wall, and then lost probably 18 positions, and tried to regain them back, and got a caution luckily, and drove up to 8th. Then we looped it off of 4 and choked it like Chase Elliott did, and I think got home P18, I think, but it was just an up and down day.
Yeah, and obviously an unfortunate end to your race, but is there anything good you can take away from this race? Maybe the racing or a little bit of improvement on your part?
Definitely. I could have more patience in the the early stages of the race. I mean, that was kind of BS on how I wrecked on lap 8 because I was so impatient. I wanted to go, and that bit me.
All right, well, Glenn, we appreciate you coming out. We appreciate you hosting this league in general. It's a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun up here calling it. So before we send you off, do you have any teams or sponsors or anyone else you want to thank?
I'd like to thank you guys for broadcasting, and I'm sorry that I ran at 1 a.m. on the East Coast. I'm sorry that the whole league wanted to watch the Xfinity race. I'm really sorry about that. I'd like to shout out PPM for letting me be on their team, Bundren Lawn Care, obviously, iRacing Media, and I want to say congratulations to Blaze McKinney because he deserved that win.
All right, well, once again, we appreciate you hosting this series. A lot of fun, and obviously we appreciate the kind words. So we'll see you next race. It should be an exciting one. I think we're at Homestead next week. So
yeah, indeed, we are at Homestead Nights.
All right, well, we'll see you then.
Yep, thank you.
That was Kelan Bundren, owner of the series, Grassman himself. So, yeah. Kenneth?
Well, I believe that kind of sums up all the interviews here tonight. I know this race has dragged on a lot, especially if you live down on the East Coast. It just surpassed just 1 a.m. on the East Coast, and I know it's late for me here, and it's late for. I know you guys are just about an hour behind, so you guys probably it's still late regardless over there. But to all the people watching, we thank you so much for sticking with us throughout this race. I know it started later than it was supposed to. It was initially supposed to start at 9 p.m. Eastern, and it ended up dragging into 10:30 after the Xfinity race concluded for the real-life Xfinity cars down at Charlotte Motor Speedway. But of course, we appreciate all the support you guys bring to KBRN. It means a lot to me, Charlie, and Eli for all the support you guys brought in, and just an amazing night. But I want to ask both of you before we kind of wrap things up, what can you really take away from here, Richmond? What is the thing to take away here, mostly knowing that we have some more short tracks down the road with Myrtle Beach and Iowa and such like that?
Yeah, and this is obviously gonna set us up because now we're in two races of the season. The points are beginning to shake out to see who is really skillful and who really is gonna make their runs for the championship here. So I'm pretty excited for the next races here. It should be a lot of fun, and I'm pretty excited to cover, to commentate, and to broadcast this series. So I'm really looking forward to it. I love this series. I love the drivers here. A lot of them are my friends, and I enjoy watching it.
Yeah, me too. I'm really excited for these upcoming races. I think this series is great. This series is amazing. We have had amazing racing so far. I'm just excited to see it continue in the next few weeks.
All right. Well, now that we have that, next week we'll be going to the Magic City in Homestead, Miami Speedway, down for 100 laps under the lights as well. It's the third race in a row that we have under the lights here, so that'll be very interesting to see how these guys work around that track, and that track is a lot of fun, especially, and it's my hometown, so that'll be a very special race for me in this booth. But of course, we thank you all for sticking with us throughout this broadcast and sticking with us all the way from start to finish. So of course, thank you all for tuning into the broadcast and being involved in the chat. And of course, happy Memorial Day to all the men and women who have fought for our country and have made the ultimate sacrifice to keep our freedoms alive in this country and to have events like these, even if it's on iRacing. For everyone here at the iRacing Bundren Lawn Care Series, for everyone at KBRN, for the guys in the booth, Charlie Baier and Eli Commerford, my name is Kenneth Bueno saying good night from Richmond. We'll see you in the Magic City.